Hi, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Friday weekly Ask Me Any Stock session. If you guys can see and hear me, just type a GM for good morning. Let me just acknowledge all of you for just being early today. I think the very first comment today, we have Wasong. Hi, good day, everyone. Good morning. Hi, as well. We have Mogyak 3 as well. Hi, Hong Fong Wong as well. Hi, thank you. Thanks for joining us. Hi, Ajit as well. All right, thank you so much. I'd like to thank Z for her analysis of S63 last week. Wow, thank you so much as well for kind words. Good morning as well. Good morning. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the Ask Me Any Stock session. And today we'll be looking at the US market. Good morning, Damien, Vincent. Hi, China as well. Rajaya, Kenneth. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. Let's get started, and today will be the US market. So if you have just joined us, welcome to this session. We're live on YouTube as well as on Facebook, and since the beginning of 2025, we've been going live every single Friday. All right, we alternate between the Singapore and the US market. So last Friday was the Singapore market. So this Friday we'll be back to the US market. So if you are looking at the US stock market, right, you are in the right place. So later what we do is we do a quick market outlook. We look at the S&P 500 index, maybe even the Dow Jones, right? And what are some of the factors that have affected the market? Are we seeing some buying pressure coming back? Should we be cautious because more selling can potentially happen, right? What's some of the key levels to take note of? That's exactly what we'll dive into with my one good trend strategy, all right? Of course, after that, then we'll dive into the US stocks that you guys are asking about. So would it be okay, guys? Would it be okay if you help us to like and share this video? If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, follow us, make sure you hit the follow button, the subscribe button. That will really help out the channel as well. So go ahead, guys, hit the like and share button. Give us some heart shape, some love. I think some emoticons. Like, thank you so much for doing that. That will definitely help out the channel as well, so that we can add more value to all of you over here every single week. All right. So let's see who is joining us here. Hi, Emily, Lawrence, Esther. Thank you so much. Okay, very good, very good. Now, let's go to get started right now. And before I do it, if you're just joining us, if we have never met before, my name is Joey Choy, top-tier miser, trader in Phillip Securities, and I've been doing this for more than 15 years now, right? So my forte is pretty much in stocks, all right? I do a bit of Singapore stocks, US, Hong Kong a bit as well, right? And that's my forte, right? And when I'm looking at stocks, I use what we call the one good trend strategy, which later we use it to analyze your US stocks. And I have a tool, right? This indicator that I call the one good trend pro indicator that allows me and my team, right, to give you an opinion in seconds, right, based on the confirmations that we seek as well. All right, so that's what I've been doing. So if you're looking at the US market today, you are in the right place. All right, now let me go ahead to introduce my team member as well, who is joining me here today. All right, and basically I have Bervin and Z with me today. Later each of us, me, Bervin and Z, will go through one by one round robin style. We'll cover your US stocks, and at the end, right, then we'll cover three US stocks that you guys might want to put in your watch list for potentially more upside. Why? Because these are stocks that we like. All right. I will cover one, Bervin will cover one, Z will cover one as well. So make sure you stay all the way to the end if you want to know what are these top stocks you can put and potentially position yourself in as well, right? And that's after going through your US stocks. Okay, now let me go to introduce my team member today. And I have Bervin with me today, right? One of the top brokers under me in Phillip Securities right now. More than 5 years with me, conducting our group coaching sessions for our graduates, our one-on-one sessions for our mentees, and also assisting our teams, portfolio manager with a 7-figure, right, portfolio management business as well. So Bervin is what we call a chartered financial analyst. In short, CFA, one of the highest qualification one can ever get in the banking, even in the finance space as well. And he's very well versed in the fundamentals, and I do consult him as well in some of those fundamentals of certain stocks, right? So maybe I can pass on the mic to Bervin to share a little bit of himself today, right? Bervin, all yours.
All right, thanks Joey for the introduction. All right, welcome back everybody to our weekly AMAS session. All right, so not many Fridays left in 2025. All right, so let's see where we can go from here. So just a little bit about myself, like Joey said. Yes, I'm a chartered financial analyst. Yeah, but that just means that I like to look at company fundamentals, macroeconomics. But I truly believe that the fundamentals of the stock have to go hand in hand with the technicals as well. You know, to plan your entry, you plan your exit as well. So I think that is where Joey's 1GT Pro or One Good Trend Pro indicator actually really comes into play here. All right. So later we will go through step by step. I'll not really say step by step. Really have time for that. But we'll very quickly open up the 1GT Pro indicator to just get some quick signals, quick opinions on the counters that you are actually looking at as well. Because I understand the market has been a bit volatile, especially in the last 2 weeks. So definitely, I guess you all need some additional opinion. Yeah. So this is where we come in to help. All right. So now I think I'll pass the time back to Joey to introduce Z as the next part. Joey, I think you're muted.
Yep, there we go. Sorry. All right. So basically, let me just going to introduce another of my team member, right? Z, who is joining here as well. So Bervin is an expert in fundamentals and also technical, right? So I'm very lucky to have like two of my, I would say very powerful team members right now, right? Bervin fundamental and Z is what we call a chartered market technician, basically expert in anything technical, right? Charting, price action, candlestick patterns, whatever, right? Z is the go-to person, one of the top brokers under me in Philip Securities for more than 5 years now, assisting our teams, group coaching session with our graduates, our one-on-one session with our mentees, and even, right, assisting our team's portfolio manager as well with a 7-figure fund management business, right? So maybe I can pass on the mic to Z just to share a little bit on herself. Z?
All right, thanks, Joey. Hi, everyone. My name is Z. Nice to see many familiar names again here today. So, like what Joey mentioned, for myself is I'm more of like a big fan of charts and trends. I like to look at charts and trends. But at the same time, right, when looking at chart, right, a lot of times people have the issue of having too many things on a chart, right? And it's so complicated, and then you get very stressed, don't know what to focus on. But whereas I feel that, for Joey's 1GT Pro indicator, whereby he developed, right, it's something that's very simple. When it is aligning with my strategy and my philosophy, whereby things you can break it down as simple as possible, right? Easy as possible, and then you can understand it very quickly with just a click of a button, right? Whether you can see there's a bullish or bearish signal, right? And you don't have to make things so complicated, right? Because life already so stressful. Why do you have to make it even more stressful for yourself when you're looking at charts, right? So that is the beauty about this indicator lah. So later, moving forward, like 1.5 hours to 2 hours, that's where we will try our best to cover as many US stocks as possible, right, from the chat, because every session we got so many, right? So we will try our best, right? We will try our best, and that's where you can actually see, how the 1GT Pro indicator can make your trading journey like, less complicated and less intimidating lah. Okay, so without further ado, I'll pass the time back to Joey to actually kickstart today's session.
All right, thank you so much, Z. All right, so I think Z mentioned a very good point, right? So one thing about trading, guys, is that we want to keep things simple. All right, we want to follow a simple, repeatable process, right? Just by getting a few confirmations, whether to buy or to sell, all right, and you know exactly when to get in and when to get out, right? So that's how trading should be, rather than overcomplicating things, right? So there's no overwhelm, no confusion, all right? Just clarity and conviction, and that's exactly what we'll do today, all right? Okay, so just a quick disclaimer, as usual, right? Whatever that's being shared today is just for education purposes only. So please do your own due diligence, right? Not asking you to buy or sell anything, all right? Or maybe not to buy or not to sell, right? Essentially, we are showing you your stocks, our process, our framework, our thought process, and you make your own decisions. Cool. All right. So that is just a quick disclaimer. Now let's go ahead to look at the markets. How many of you are ready? How many of you are ready to look at the markets? Type a R, guys. Type a R for ready if you are ready for today's session, and we can maybe take a look at the markets quickly. R for ready. R for ready. Let me know. All right. Let me know. R for ready. All right, thank you so much. Let's see, R. All right, we have Ajit, R. Joseph as well, R. Ian, R. Stephen, R. Very good. So you guys are ready. I'm ever ready. Let's go ahead and get started. So this is the S&P 500 index. And before I just dive into the S&P 500 index, I know some of you are already typing in the name of the US stocks in the chat. Very good. Well done, guys. But just want to say one thing, right? So before you continue typing the name of US stock, so what you want to do is that you want to give us a bit of context. All right? I know some of you are already doing it, but some of you are just typing in just one code there. But like NVIDIA or so what you want to do is give us some context, right? Like rather than just a name there, you want to like give us a bit of context. Like, are you looking to buy this stock? You bought it last week, last month? What price? All right. Are you looking to sell? You're looking to hold? what is your intention? What do you want to know about it, right? So that at least when we go to analyze your stock, that's where we are better able to, I think, advise you a little bit more in detail rather than just a stock name. I don't know what you want to do. Make sense about? All right. So go ahead to do that. Give us some context if you type any stock, and that's where we'll give more priority for those of you who give us a bit of context. Cool. All right. Okay. So very good. Let me go ahead to cover the S&P 500 index. So you can see for the S&P 500 index, well, I think we have seen a bit of support coming out right over here around the 6,600 level. So you can see over the past, I would say 2 over months, well, 6,600. It used to be 6,550 right over here, but I think it's gone up slightly higher to around that 6,600. So we have seen a bit of momentum coming back, buyers coming back on dips as we approach the 6,600. Look at this, right? Every time we near 6,600 to 6,550 previously over the past 2 months, buyers have came back and we've staged a pretty good rebound. In fact, just like last week, rebound as well, right? So that's a very key, I would say, psychological support level for now. 6,600, maybe all the way to 6,700. I think that's where potentially some bargain hunting can come back. Again, what about a very key resistance level? Well, you want to write it down. I think over the past 3 weeks, it seems like some selling have came back right over here. So this is the S&P 500 index. Team, just place it out on the chat, right? The S&P 500 index, you see right over here. We are pretty much from 6.6 to 6.9. Make sense? All right. We are kind of like in the center right now. You can see, right? So this is the range from 6,600 to 6,900. It's like a 300 points range. So now we are kind of like in the middle. So I think overall, I would say the market has been pretty volatile. I think over the past few days, we have seen a bit of selling in the market. Those of you who have been following the news will know that we are seeing some selling in some of the technology stocks. All right. And why? Because that's where, there are news coming out about, valuations being, over valuations, right? There are concerns about, some of the tech companies, like AI, specifically, all right, becoming overvalued, right? That's ahead of the fundamentals. And that's where people are using it as an excuse to sell down, right? But I would say that, we are seeing temporary selling, right? But overall, there's still some, I would say strength coming back on dips. We are seeing supports coming back as well every time. So later we look at some of those stocks, some AI stocks, maybe even that you guys are asking about as well. So overall, I think it's still quite bullish, but I think it's normal to see a bit of profit taking here and there, as long as those key support levels that we're talking about are holding. So for the S&P 500 index, you see that the longer term trend, look at the red and the blue line, it is up, right? So longer term trend is up. The short term trend, look at the green line. It has been up since like April, up, flat a bit, up, flat, up. I think right now the green line is still pointing up, maybe a bit flattening out. It just means a bit of a consolidation, right? So that's healthy because normally in an uptrend, right? So the market is clearly in an uptrend. Not just since last week or last month, since quite long back, I think somewhere in April and May, we saw a very strong reversal in the trend, right? So it's still in an uptrend, but doesn't mean in an uptrend means it has to go up every single day, right? Or every single week. No, right? We want to see a bit of a consolidation as it moves even higher, all right? As it, takes a little bit of a rest, takes a bit of a breather before hopefully breaking that resistance to 6,009 or even 7,000 to push even higher. Does it make sense? That's what we call a healthy and sustainable uptrend, right? So I think this is the S&P 500 index. Well, a bit of selling, 6,009. Take note, that's where we could see selling coming back again. But overall, I think it's still bullish. Take note of the key support levels like the 6,600 to maybe 6,700. All right. Now let's take a look at the Dow Jones very quickly. I think Dow Jones is one of the very popular index as well that I get asked quite often on. All right. So this is the Dow Jones right over here, trading at about 47,457. So you can see that I've already turned on the bullish and bearish signals for the Dow Jones. So you can see right over here, and that's what we'll do for the stocks that you guys are asking about as well. I have the One Good Trend Pro indicator. So in a matter of seconds, for any asset classes, any stocks, all right? I mean, we're talking about US stocks today, but any asset classes, even Singapore stocks, that doesn't matter, right? You can turn it on in seconds and get an opinion. So this is what most people will see, right? In fact, most people will see, what we call a blank chart like this, pump, right? And it's just pretty much the price. I mean, nothing wrong with that. I mean, I could do some manual analysis that will work for me as well, but sometimes I'm pretty lazy as well, right? With a click of a button, I do get a few more other confirmations, not just on the market, but any stocks. It tells me exactly what to do. Are we more bullish? Are we more bearish? Right? Are there confirmations that it's going to come down? You want to be careful, maybe get out first. That's exactly what it tells me. So now, let's go ahead to turn on some of the confirmations that me and my team seek. All right, so let's go ahead to turn on the moving averages. Basically, that just allows me to get a very quick understanding of the trend in the longer term and even in the short term. So Dow Jones has already officially turned into a longer term uptrend, I would say, since like around September. All right, you can see 100 days moving average cross above the 200 days moving average. Red above the blue, both pointing up. Not too bad, not too bad. Of course, I mentioned previously in the AMAS as well that we have kind of like broken above this very key level, the 45,000. I mean, 45,000, you know, if you've been following me since the beginning of the year, I've been always talking about the 45,000. Why? Because every time we touch, you know, last year we touch, come down, all right, somewhere over here we touch, come down, touch, every time come down, right? Cannot go above. It's a very key psychological level, right? But once we broke above it somewhere in August, and of course we covered it, right, and in our August AMAS as well, that would be some signs of strength. There'll be some signs of the market potentially moving towards a higher target, a higher phase, right? And that's exactly what we've seen, right? So we broke the 45,000, and not just that, we got other confirmations like the long-term trend, the green line that represents the short-term trend, right? It was going sideways, also started to point up. Does it make sense so far? And there we go. Now let's take a look at the green line. You can see all the way right now, yeah, it is still kind of like pointing up. Does it make sense about? Right? So we're still above the 45, and in fact, I think 45,000 would be a too low of a support right now. We have found a higher support, maybe around that 47, not even 45. I mean, it used to be 45, but I think 45 have you know, kind of like push all the way up. You know, we have formed higher lows. Buyers are coming out at even higher levels for the entire Dow Jones. So 47,000, it seems like that's where, you know, we could see some support coming back all the way to a resistance, right? A resistance of around maybe that 48,500. If I can draw it for you, I think right over here. Yeah, maybe 48,500 seems like a bit of a resistance over the past few days. We are kind of like retracing down from that level. So 47,000 to 48,500. Now, very simple. Let's go to turn on the bullish and bearish signals, all right? To get another confirmation. Are we looking good? Are we seeing like bearish signal yesterday or something, right? Let's find out, right? So let's turn it on. The very first box right over here from the One Good Trend Pro indicator, which is pretty much the indicator from the One Good Trend strategy that I've been using for more than 15 years now. All right, so very simple. I've turned it on, and let's take a look. So you can see, right, quite clearly, we got, I mean, it's not just green bullish signals all the way. I mean, sometimes you get a bearish signal. You can see, right, that was in March, right, when Trump, you know, was talking about tariffs and all that. We got a bearish signal, the green line turned down, and all the way down. So you want to be careful, lah. I mean, if you see a bearish signal. Does it make sense? Same thing, another bearish signal here and then all the way down, right? Every time we get a bullish signal as one confirmation of a reversal, there we go, all the way up. A bearish signal rested for like 1-2 weeks. Another new bullish signal came out for the market on 22 August, to be exact. And there we go as another confirmation. Does it make sense? Right? So are there any bearish red signal right now? I think don't have lah. I mean, don't have means don't have, right? I mean, yeah, so I think it still looks okay as long as you stay above the 47,000, right? There's no bearish signal. The market is still pretty much in a consolidation phase. As it attempt to push even higher, we could still be even more bullish, all right? Especially the 48,500 gives way. Cool, all right? So that is for the Dow Jones. Okay, now let me go ahead to cover the very first US stocks for today, all right? So let me just go ahead to spend some time, guys, to look at the stocks for today. Let me go ahead. I'll just do a very first stock, and then I'll pass on the mic to Bervin, and then who will pass on the mic to Z. All right. So very quickly, let me see what is it. So give me some time. Let me just go ahead to pick one. Okay, let's go. Maybe I'll just pick one right over here, and that would be Harold. All right, Harold Wong. Right, the first lucky stock for today. Let's see. Right. Hi, Julie and team. I'm currently looking to buy Micron, all right, M-I-C-R-O, Micron. The code is MU. Very good. Just wondering what would be a good entry level. Very good. Thanks for giving us a bit of context. As I say, guys, for those of you who are typing in the stocks, giving us a bit of context, we will definitely give you priority, right? So, because if you just type one MU there, two letters, I probably wouldn't cover it because I don't know what is MU, right? But now, at least I know, because like there's so many codes, guys. We cannot remember all the codes. Sometimes I remember, right? But sometimes not. So by now I know it's Micron, and then you're looking to buy. Whether it's a good entry to buy or not. Let's find out. So let's go to MU, Micron. Where is it? Right over here, first one, Micron. Let's take a look at it. Wow. Oh, not too bad, huh? Micron. All right, so you're looking to buy. Wow, I mean, if you have got in previously, then even better lah. But let's see, Harold, if it's still a good entry. I mean, even though it has gone up by quite a fair bit. But let me just take a step back and what has happened over the past 5 to 6 months. So you can see for Micron, well, we got, as I say, this is Micron, right? Not the market, right? But for any markets, for the US stock as well, you could turn it on, the 1GD Pro indicator, pump. This is what most people see. Let's turn it on. There we go, right? So when we get alerted to a bullish signal, that's where we could think about getting in, right? But doesn't mean you get a bullish signal means you anyhow just go and buy also, right? Basically, we have a few confirmations that we seek right, on top of the bullish signal. But that bullish signal is not bad. I mean, it's quite a good confirmation already. Plus this, then even better. Does it make sense? All right. Now, let's take a look at what it says from the 1GT bullish signals. You can see right away, I said, previously not so good. Pump. That was like in March, April, and then we sold all the way down, right? From like about $100 went down to $80. We got a new bullish signal, all the way up. Went from like 82 all the way to about 120, and then we got a bearish signal, and then take some profit, get out. I mean, let's say if you have got in there from here to here, 45%, quite okay, right? 45%, take first, get out, wait for a pullback, wait for a new bullish signal to think about getting in, right? So, Harold, right? Hopefully, I mean, if you actually have access to this indicator, then, by right, a good entry will be over here, I mean, that's where, it was like about 120, right? I mean, 120, and then we look at this, not one, but two, two 1GT bullish signal, all right? And you can see all the way up. Long-term trend is up. The green line, look at this, was like flat. The bullish signal, the second bullish signal came out, and the green line, look at this. It start turning up. Wow, it's another confirmation. I mean, long-term trend already up, right? So green line up. Is it still up? Yeah, I think it's still up, right? So the short-term trend is still up. These bullish signals are still in play, So some of you might ask, hey, Chewy, wow, it has gone up from like about 120. I mean, when you got a bullish signal previously in September, August, of course, that's the best, right? 120. I mean, from there to now, it's like about 105%. I mean, in about 2 months plus. Of course, if you got in like September, then best 105%. Right now, it's about taking steps to protect your profits. Okay, but let's say you didn't get it, right? Let's say you're not alerted because you didn't have this tool, right? You didn't know about this bullish signal, right? Well, then could it still be a good entry, right? Could there still be more upside? Well, I think there could still be more upside as long as all the confirmations are still pointing up. So doesn't mean you buy it, you just leave it there, don't care about it. After that, you see a bearish signal, this red color signal come out, and the short-term trend turn down, and you still keep on to it. Of course, don't do that, right? But as long as all that don't show, as long as all these confirmations are still pointing up, then continue riding. I mean, if you have it, then good. Continue riding. If you don't have it, then think about getting in to ride even further. Does it make sense? All right. So what could be a good entry? All right, back to your question, right, Harold? What could be a good entry to think about getting in with a plan that makes sense? All right. Now, what we could do is very simple. We could go ahead to turn on the trailing support. So one of the very powerful features of the One Good Trend Pro indicator is that we can turn on the trailing support right over here. What is a trailing support? Well, I've turned it on. You can see that this trailing support, essentially, right, when a 1GT bullish signal appears, the first one appears, the trailing support line pops out and it stays below the price, all right? And as the price of Micron or any other things, any asset classes, it moves up. Well, this trailing support also starts to follow it as it moves up. It's the name of trailing support, following support, right? But when you follow, you don't follow too close also. Give it some space to breathe a bit, right? Some allowance to move freely, that accounts for the natural volatility of a stock. So you can see, this trailing support has popped up in August, and when it was around $110, right? Then as Micron move up, it also follow, right? Up, flat, up, follow, flat, right? Follow. Now 110 follow until 210 already, right? Almost 210 already, right? So you can see it's following as it moves up. As long as you stay above it, that's another confirmation whereby it's still okay Makes sense, right? Chill, right? So what could be a good entry? Well, I would say that any good entry could be near what we call a horizontal support level. So I would say right now, we may see maybe a bit of support near 220, 225, maybe to 230. I think that's where some bargain hunting have come out over the past 2-3 weeks, right over here. Of course, the best entry would be near the trailing support, whereby it's slightly lower because that's where we have given the space, right, for the stock to breathe. So if it does hit to near the trailing support and we do spot some other confirmations like a bullish candlestick and all that, or even better, right? But sometimes doesn't mean you want it to dip. To buy means you dip for you to buy, right? It doesn't know that you're queuing there to buy, right? So we might have to buy a little bit more expensive. And what could be the next higher horizontal support level? Well, I think somewhere near 220. I think it seems like past 2-3 weeks buying pressure is already starting to come out. You see what I'm saying about? All right, so that could be a good entry all the way to maybe that 260. If 260 to give way, I think targets could be revised maybe all the way to 300 to 320. We could continue to see more upside for Micron, all right? And that is after 105%, right, over the past 2 months already. So looks good, all right? Unless a bearish signal comes out, we see the green line turning down, we get a few other confirmations that it's really going down, then we get out, take some profit, 105%, good enough, get out. But if not, if all things look good, continue to ride. We ride into strength, we ride into further strength as well, while taking steps to protect our profits. Maybe even scaling into the winners, adding more positions in the winners. Does it make sense, Mark? All right, so that's the very first stock for today. That'll be for Micron, MU. I hope that helps, Harold. All right, let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next US stock. Bervin, yours.
All right, thanks, Jerry. Okay, so let's go on very quickly. Let's see right here. Ian. Hi, morning, Ian. Okay, your thoughts on C and Johnson & Johnson per 1GT. What is the resistance and support? Okay, let's see. Let me just throw up my screen. It should be right there already. On my screen now, we have Citigroup. I mean, there's two, so I'll just cover Citigroup first. All right, so what is the entry price respectively to accumulate for dividends and or to take profit? Fantastic. I love that mindset to accumulate even more for dividends and also to take profit. If there are any weakness come in, of course, you want to look to take some profits first. All right, so yeah, I don't know your cost price, but if you're saying you're accumulating more for dividends, I believe you have bought it quite some time ago already lah. Yeah, so you're probably sitting on some profits, accumulating on some dividends as well. Not too sure how many rounds, but let's see right here from the very beginning. Right, from the very beginning, we have that 20 days moving average still pointing up or recently started to point up as prices rebounded from that $95 to maybe about that $96 support level. All right, the longer term moving averages for Citigroup still looks very good. All right, it's definitely still pointing up. All right, the red pointing up, the blue pointing up. That means 100 and 200 days moving averages are pointing up. The longer term trend is still intact. The longer term uptrend is still in play. But recently, right here, we actually see, right, on this day, on the 8th of October, we actually see a 1GT bearish signal actually came in. Prices went down for a little bit, found that support. Buyers came in to defend that $95 level. This is a level that buyers seem to be very keen to accumulate at this point. Why? I think can be explained by previously it was pretty much like a resistance right here in July. It tested once, twice. On the third time, it finally broke above. Right, it finally broke above that $95 level, tested all the way or moved all the way up for another $10 to that 105 level where sellers came back in, right, for profit taking. Right, so I think a little bit of profit taking here, a little bit of consolidation here, very, very normal, very, very, very normal. All right, so right now I think we actually see, let me just zoom in a little bit, we actually see that prices are coming back very, very close, very, very close to that 105 level once again. Is it going to be able to break above that 105, heading higher to maybe 115 or anything like that? I think I'm not sure. Nobody can tell you. Nobody can tell you if it's indeed going to push higher right now. But all signs still pointing towards that longer term uptrend, shorter term uptrend still intact. The momentum still there. We also have a 1GT bearish, bullish signal actually coming in right here on the 5th of November. 5th of November. Prices still under that 105, but look at this right here. We actually see a little bit of a bullish candlestick. Just boxed it up in green right there, long lower shadow, signifying that buyers actually came in that day to actually push prices higher to close. Right, so that's a good sign. I think people are still accumulating. investors are still accumulating for Citigroup. Oh, so you actually bought it at $46. Yeah, $46. First of all, congratulations, $46. I think you bought back when in August of last year, or maybe even September of last year. Quite a while back already. You are sitting on more than 100% profit. So great. Let's think about how we can continue to ride that uptrend or even to protect those profits. So like what Joey did just now, just turn on that 1GT, just go into the 1GT settings and turn on that trailing support and resistance. Let me just delete some of the boxes here first. You can see that trailing support right now. Right, it's about at $92, $93 level as of right now. Just under that $95 horizontal support, we have that trailing support. So like what Joey said, it takes into account the natural volatility or the typical price movements of the counter. So right now, it still gives it plenty of space to breathe. Right, plenty of space to breathe. So I think, Ian, what you can do firstly, I think would be to actually set up some alerts. Right. So the keyword here is not to set up some anything stop loss, stop limit. Set up some alerts first. Right. Set up some alerts, meaning to say you want to set up some technical alerts. Technical alerts. One GT Pro indicator allows you to set up a buy or sell signal alert. Create once per bar right there. So if you receive another 1GT bearish signal coming in right there, you want to maybe just come in, take a look at the counter. Do you see any weakness? Do you see any buyers coming back in? Because by then prices would be trading very close, right? Very, very close to that trailing support, probably testing it as well. Make a decision that maybe you want to protect some profits. Okay, no problem. You can sell a little bit as well. But if you see buyers coming in very close to that 95 level, very similar to what had happened in October as well, that could give you a window of opportunity to accumulate on the dips. All right, to accumulate on the dips right there. So, you can build on your position. Not too sure how big is your position as well, but if you are intending to look at this for a longer time period, yes, then maybe this is a level for you to actually accumulate as well. However, if you're a little bit more aggressive, maybe you receive a 1GT bullish signal, another 1GT bullish signal when prices break above that 105 level. All right, break above that 105 level, we see another 1GT bullish signal coming in right there. That could give you another opportunity to accumulate, but on a higher support. Not at a higher resistance, but at a higher support as well. As long as prices are able to hold above that 105, I think it could give us that next upside or next target towards that 115 level. So bear in mind that trailing support moves up as prices moves up. So your alerts have to be shifted up, or if you have some stop limit orders as well, those have to be shifted up along with that trailing support. So I think the next upside target can be drawn to 115. Is it heading there anytime soon? I don't know. Your guess can be as good as mine. But as of right now, let's monitor to see if that 105 level gives way first. All right. Okay. So that is for Citigroup. Hopefully, that helps you a little bit, Ian. I'll pass the time now to Z to actually cover the next requested stock. Z?
All right, thanks, Vervin. Okay, so let me share my screen. And right here, I have this stock, which is Visa, right, by Lillian. Lillian, I hope you're still here. You mentioned that you intend to buy Visa, right? Okay, so maybe let's analyze this Visa, all of us together, all right? But now I don't turn on the 1GT bullish or bearish signal first. We go and see the trend, we see the lines, and then we take a look at the signals, okay? So Lillian's intention is wanting to buy Visa, right? So I'm assuming that you don't have any Visa and you are thinking to enter a position. Okay, so first thing first, we always look at the trend, right? When we look at the trend, we look at what? We look at moving averages, right? So for Visa, what do we see in terms of the trend? I mean, since last year, I think end of last year, the last quarter, that's where we started to see Visa having an uptrend forming, right? And we see that the green above the red and above the blue, and prices are generally heading up. So this is all right, right? But only somewhere this year, starting from June to July, then that's where we start to see some short-term weakness already, right? Why? Because we started to see 20 days moving average, the green line started to point down and go down and go down and go sideways. And right now, over the past couple of months, right over here, what do we see? We see that the longer term moving average previously, at the start of the year, end of last year, you see the red and the blue line was pointing up, right? But somewhere this year, starting from June or July, the period, like I said right over here, right, it started to flatten out, right? And currently, all three moving averages are just kind of like heading sideways, right? And we can also clearly see that in the price action, right? Price has just been going up and down, and it is very clearly within these two lines, right? Which is the resistance and the support line, right? Whereby you can see that I draw my support somewhere around this 333, but I would think that, maybe I draw at 333, maybe Joey draw at 330, maybe Bervin draw at 322, right? But the key thing here is this is what we call a support zone, right? So it's very clear that we have found a support zone over the past couple of months. Prices have consolidated sideways. And in terms of the resistance zone, definitely will be somewhere around 355 lah, right? This is where we started to see selling pressure returning every time prices near this level. You can see that, wow, so many times sellers push the price back down, right? So we know that, okay, support is somewhere around 330, right? This support zone, resistance is about 355. And all moving averages are kind of like just heading sideways, right? Prices also just moving sideways within a consolidation phase. And if I were to zoom in, okay, let's see, if I were to zoom in, and right now, we take a look at this, currently, if you look a bit closer, right, you can see that the blue is above the red and above the green. And usually that is not even what we want, right? Because what we want is that the green above the red above the blue. Now it's opposite, totally opposite, right? And prices is still within the consolidation range, right? So based on what we have analyzed so far, we know support, we know resistance, we know the trend, like a bit weak, right? A bit weak. But if Lilian is thinking about buying, right, maybe at this point in time, you might think that, okay lah, not too bad, because price going to the support zone, right? Maybe we want to consider, right? Maybe we can consider, to think about taking some position, accumulate some position here. Then maybe we can think about, taking some profits here, doing some range trading, right? That could be an option, right? That could be an option if Lilian is okay with range trading, right? Because not everybody likes range trading, going up and down within a range, right? That could be an option. But bear in mind, I haven't even turned on the signals yet. So this is what we are thinking of right now, correct? So like what Joey always mentioned, if you got money, can buy that. If you got money, anything also can buy, right? You want to enter here, you want to enter now, also can, right? But now, the thing is that when I turn on this signal, let's see, does it change your opinion? Because what do we see now? We see not one, but two consecutive 1GT bearish signal. Does it give you another layer of confirmation that, at this point in time, maybe not that great for me to actually enter, even though I see that, price is kind of like consolidating sideways, maybe it's at the support zone, but because of the fact that we know that there is two 1GT bearish signal, right, it just means that there is more selling pressure returning, right? We don't even have a confirmation of the bullish signal, coming out. We don't even have a confirmation of the trend looking okay, right? So maybe at this point in time for Lilian, right, I would say perhaps what you want to monitor definitely first is for the trend to start to, point back up first, right? The moving average to at least go back up first, right? The 20 days moving average now is still going down. At least it go back up and break above the longer term moving average first before thinking of, buying. Don't just buy because you think that, price is pretty cheap, right? And it's consolidating sideways. I mean, yes, you can. I mean, some of you guys, if you really prefer range trading, you like range trading, maybe you can actually get in. But always the key thing is, always remember, if this support level break, right? If this support level break, always to make sure to have your downside in check, right? To have your risk management in check. Because what happens if this 330 support zone were to break down, right? If prices, trade like this, unable to hold and break down, potential downside target that we are looking at, or potential downside, right, that we are looking towards is where this $300 level, right? And that is actually, let's see how much. It's almost about a 9 to 10% downside, right? So that is the thing that you got to think about in terms of managing your risk. Doesn't mean that you cannot buy. You can buy, but you buy already. What's your plan, right? What's your plan, right? But with based on Joey's 1GT framework, right? Of course, we want to think about buying when we have more confirmation, right? When we have another 1GT bullish signal coming out, and when the trend is looking better than it is at this point in time now. Okay, so that would be, a very quick one for Visa, right? With just the help of the 1GT, pro indicator, it gives you another thing to think about, like another confirmation to think about, right? And for those of you who are here and you thinking of, how do you actually get these 1GT signals or 1GT like bullish and bearish signals? How do you actually turn it on, right? Actually, I think Joey very kindly have allowed, you guys to actually test drive this 1GT light indicator for free for 14 days. I think the link is actually in the chat already, right? So of course, with this 1GT light indicator, you can actually turn on this bullish and bearish signal to show it on your chart to give you an additional layer of confirmation, right? To maybe think about, hey, whether should I really take action at this point in time, or maybe should I wait for more confirmation? Okay, so Lillian, I hope that helps you to give you some clarity in terms of some of the levels to think about, as well as how this 1GT Pro indicator, right, complements with it. Okay, so back over to you, Joey, to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Well done. All right, let's move on to the next one. And I think Z mentioned about the 1GT light indicator. So basically, guys, what we're using, right, is the One Good Trend Pro, right, indicator, right, which is a little bit more advanced. You get more boxes, more confirmations. You can turn on certain powerful features, right? But we do have a light version. It's a simpler version. All right, the link's right in the chat. Click on it. Right, that's where in a matter of seconds for any asset classes, doesn't matter whether is it Visa or Citigroup or Micron that we have covered, or even the markets, right? You can turn it on in seconds based on the bullish and bearish signals, right? And based on the moving averages as well, get an opinion in seconds as well. So check it out. For those of you who want to come test drive the indicator, we do have a light version, One Good Trend light indicator. Link is right in the chat. Okay, now let me go ahead to move on to the next US stock. All right, and that would be, I think a lot of you are asking about this stock, right? Let's take a look at some of the chat messages on this stock called Meta. Meta Platforms, META is the code. Okay, let's see, right? Hi, Pioneering Medicine, right? Hi, Meta has been dropping quite a bit. Yeah, it did, right? Quite a bit. In fact, not quite a bit, quite a lot. Thinking to enter to buy the dip, right? But no 1GT buy signal yet. Well, not too bad. So you probably have access to the two, all right? And you can see that there's no bullish signal, but later we'll turn it on and see whether really have or not, or don't have. Okay. Just wondering, what would be your assessment of this? Thank you, Ben. All right, awesome. Thanks, Ben, for giving us a bit of context. Looking to buy. Is it the right time? Is it getting cheaper? Is it maybe going back up and then you might miss it? Let's find out in a bit. Let's take a look at another, right? Kunaf, I bought Meta at 650. Oops, now it's 609. Okay, sorry, I came down a bit, right? So any upside or cut loss? So one wanting to buy, one bought already come down, then don't know whether to get out or to wait and stuff, right? Kunaf, right? So later we'll find out as well. Let's take a look at another chat messages as well. Hi, Joey and team. I currently own some Meta. Okay, not too sure what price you own it. Oh, you mentioned my average price is 208. 208. Wow, not bad. 208. Now it's $600. So you're confirm making money, right? What is a good price to add? Well done. All right, you're looking. So you have it. It went all the way up to like 700 plus. Yeah, it came down over the past few weeks, but you're looking to actually add your position. I think that's a very good mindset. All right, you're looking to add, but you don't know when to add. So something like the first, like Ben as well, right? Looking to add, but not too sure when exactly to add. But I think it's a very good mindset that you are already in a winning trade. I mean, you bought at 200, right? 208 to be exact. Now it's 600. You confirm make money already, right? But most people would think about taking profit and get out and then don't buy this stock forever already, right? And because it's like very expensive already, because you went up, right? But you're looking to add your positions to ride even more upside. So I think that's a very good mindset. That's exactly what we are doing as well. That's what we're doing as well. I mean, that's what most people should do as well, right? But not anyhow, all right? You want to know when to get in when the time comes. Now, let's take a look at Meta right now, 609. So do me a favor, guys. What do you guys think about the short-term trend, the short-term trend? Just help me out just by looking at the green line, right? Is it pointing up or down? Let me know. Type in the chat, guys. U for up, D for down. In terms of the green line that represents the short-term trend. Is the green line pointing up or down? Very simple. Primary school, some primary school. Don't you bluff yourself. Up means up, down means down. Type in the chat. Thanks so much, Ji-Sing. Thanks for joining us. Benjamin down as well. Hi, Ivan down. Yen down. All right, Ben, you're saying it's down. It's all awesome, right? Andy down. Very good. So quite clearly, guys, that, okay, let me just go to pull up the chat again, right? So I would say that quite clearly, the green 20 days moving average line is pointing down. In fact, it's been pointing down not just last week, since like, I think beginning of October, already starting to point down a bit. Does it make sense about? All right, so that's where we are seeing signs of weakness in the short term. All right, so that's for the short-term trend. And it's just one confirmation that, it's just looking a bit weaker. All right, now let's go to turn on what we call the bullish and bearish signals from the One Good Trend Pro indicator just to get an added confirmation. Are we seeing bullish signal coming out? Maybe yesterday got one bullish signal, one and very happy lah, right? Or maybe you got a few bearish signal, then you want to be careful lah. Let's find out, right? Let's take a look. So let's quickly turn on the very first box just to get a confirmation pump. Wow. So you can see that for Meta, well, let's not go too far, but I mean, previously in like February, we also got one bearish signal, pump, two more come out, and then we all the way down. April, Trump introduced tariffs. So we went all the way down from 720 to like 520. And then we got a new 1 GT bullish signal coming out. All right, that was in 2nd of May, right? Beginning of May, the green line turns up, and then we go all the way up. Let me know, guys. Type R for red, guys. If you can see some red bearish signals coming out. I mean, not last week, but it seems I think last month really come out already. Type R for red, guys. If you can see some of those bearish signals coming out, just to make sure that all of you are following me so far. All right, let me know, right? If you've seen some red bearish signals. R for red. Let's see, right? R. Let me know. Can you guys see some red signals coming out? Bearish, red. Exactly, right? So not green, red color. Does it make sense, Bob? Right? What would be these red signals? Well, quite clearly, that would be what we call a 1 GT bearish signal. Not 1, not 2, but 3 bearish signal. It's just another confirmation whereby the short-term trend is really turning down. So remember, we talked about the green line, right? That it was pointing down, right? Plus now the green line pointing down, plus you get not 1, not 2, but 3 bearish signal there. Then you can buy for what? Right? What? I mean, you're like kind of going against the short-term trend. I mean, you want to buy can, you might get stuck, right? So I think some bought already, some bought maybe like 6 feet. I think could have, right? So you bought at 650. By right, should not have bought because it's like, there are no clear signs of reversal, right? We only want to buy when there are clear signs of a reversal. All right. When we see a bullish signal, like over here, right? Here you tell me you want to buy, okay, no problem. Now you get a bullish signal, the green line turns up, fine. But now got no bullish signal, right? So why you buy, right? So that's the first thing, right? So by right, should not even have bought last week or last month or what. I mean, as there are signs or confirmation saying that it might actually hit down more. You see what I'm saying so far? All right. So that is for good enough. By right, should not have bought, right? But never mind. I mean, now you bought already, right? You need to have a plan. You need to have a plan to get out by right. All right. But let's see what could be like the support levels, and maybe for those of you who are looking to get in, what could be the price. So I think like for this, for who is this? Ed, right? I think Ed, you're looking to get in as well. Now let's take a look. So you can see that we have found a bit of support right over here around the 600. So 600 would be what we call a psychological support. It was where we were previously as well in May, right? So we're pretty much back to where we were in May. And we saw 1 GT bullish signal. We broke the 600, all the way up. So we're right now back to where the previous resistance level was, right? Resistance turn support. So I think if you can stay above 600, right, I think hopefully it holds. Nobody knows, because take note, guys, it doesn't mean you hit to a 600 support means the 600 support will hold, right? Yeah, I mean, there's some bargain hunting coming back. But if the 600 were to break down, can we hit lower to maybe 550 next support? Could we hit lower to maybe that 500 next support where we were in April? We could as well, right? So we don't just get in this because we hit it to the support whereby it rebounded 5 months ago. Does it make sense? All right. So when do we get in? Well, we want to see signs of a confirmation. So right now you can clearly see that the green line is still pointing down, right? So let's say we continue to consolidate above 600, right? Next week still consolidate above it. Next 2-3 weeks still consolidate. I can tell you this green line, it will stop going down already, right? If we continue to stay above the 600, this green line will start to flatten out, because that's where we have seen some stability coming back. Does it make sense, about right? And that could be signs of a potential reversal happening, because this support would be pretty decent. I mean, the fact that we have held above it for a couple of weeks, green line starting to flatten out, maybe the green line starting to turn up, another confirmation, and maybe we can take this bullish signal from here, and you take any copy and then you paste it over here or here or here, right? That could be another confirmation to ride the reversal back up again. Does it make sense, about right? But has it happened yet? I don't know, right? And I'm just saying that, I mean, hopefully the 600 will hold. That doesn't mean that this will happen. This is what I kind of like, project, right? But we may even break 600, and to be honest, this green line may even go down some more and then flatten out over here, or maybe flatten out over here. Does it make sense? Nobody knows exactly where is it. So we want to wait for it to show its hand. We want wait for the stock to play the cards out. Then we decide, right? No point guessing it will happen next week, next week. I don't know. But once it happens, then we know lah. Make sense? And we make our decision accordingly. We take the trade accordingly, right? Once we get the confirmation. All right. So I hope that helps. Just to give you guys an idea of what we're looking for in terms of an entry to get in. Right now, I would say probably not want to get in. Wait for more confirmation, because all things are still pointing down. Hopefully the 600 holds over the next 2-3 weeks, maybe up to a month. We see some signs of a reversal in terms of the trend, maybe a bullish signal coming out that could guide us to get back in. All right, so let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next US stock. Bervin, yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so since Joey cover Meta, I think there's one other one that is been on a move most recently. I think HL. Okay, not sure whether Tesla has been discussed. No, it hasn't. So if not, could we analyze it? Yeah, it seems like it's hanging on at the $400 support at the moment, but I have a feeling it might break below soon. All right, okay. So for Tesla, yes, I think as of yesterday, we actually see a little bit of a sell down actually happen as well with that 410, or maybe I will call it like what Z call it, a support zone, that 400 to that 410 level is currently being tested. Psychological level being tested already, and we actually see that the 20 days moving average, can we see right here, has started to point down, right? Has started to point down as of this week already. So there is weakness. There's clearly signs of weakness. It's definitely not as bullish as what we see in September already. A little bit of sideways consolidation between the 400 to the 480 level. Ting tong there for about 2 months. And did it break above this level? No, it did not break above this level. In fact, it actually broke below that level. Is actually testing that support zone already. So that 200 days moving average looks to be a little bit flat, while the 100 days moving average looks to be still pointing up. So many mixed signals. All right, so many mixed signals. So HR, I don't know whether you are looking to get in. You already have some positions there. You're looking for a plan right now, or you are looking to in fact accumulate on the dips, build your position. So what should we do in all these cases? So firstly, let's touch on, if you currently do not have some Tesla shares, you currently do not have some Tesla shares, do you want to buy? All right, do you want to buy at this level, this $401.99 close? Maybe you guys in the chat can actually help out HL a little bit here. Let me just close out her chat. I think it's blocking out the bottom of my chart. Do you want to buy Tesla at this level? Let me just find that out. Thanks. Now, you guys, do you want to buy Tesla at this level, at the $400 level? Nikki says no, not really. Okay, so user says no. Ivan says no. Ian says no. Then Francis says W, which I'm assuming for weight. Yeah. And Tiong says no, wait. Okay, Wong says no. All right, so great. So you can see that a lot of people are actually also looking at Tesla, and at this level, no, they don't want to accumulate. So just based on this sample size, if you are actually accumulating, could you actually possibly see more weakness coming back in? I would say at this point, it looks like the probability, this is just a probability game, the probability of it heading lower is more than the probability of it heading higher. All right, so there's no real reason to actually take on this risk, because there's not enough confirmation. All right, there's not enough confirmation that it's going to be heading back up, testing the 480 level. Next thing you know, you buy, then after that, the stock prices head down to 360. Wow, shit, got stuck. Then how buy again? Then go down again. You don't want that kind of mindset. You don't want to be throwing good money after bad. So I think in such a case, you perhaps want to take a little bit of a backseat. Why? Just turn on that trailing support as well. Saw this last night here. Wow, so close at the prices. Wow, cannot even put half a finger between the trailing support and the close of the candlestick. It briefly dipped below that trailing support some more. So it's so close to the point that maybe tonight open straight away you see prices below that trailing support if the market is weak. I know sometimes we say that it's a good level. It's a good level to accumulate close to that trailing support. Yes, it is still a good level to accumulate close to the trailing support, but with the other confirmations or the other signs pointing to the uptrend being able to continue. Doesn't mean close to trailing support. Okay, bye. No, look at the other confirmation as well. You got a very a mixed basket of signals here. So it's better to just wait up. So but in fact, I think you should just add a signal right here, just 1 GT Pro, buy sell alert. All right. Hopefully you don't trigger a sell alert. We see a rebound. All right. If prices rebound higher, rebound higher above that 400 level, I think that is when you can see that 20 days moving average start to show a little bit more momentum pointing up. Great. I think that is a good recovery. All right, that's a good recovery. And then in fact, maybe right then we can then try to position ourselves for an entry. But I think right now, let's just look at if there's another 1 GT bearish signal that could come in as well. So I think that next downside could be towards that 360 level. I think I will agree with Benjamin right there. The 360 level is previously a resistance, tested it a couple of times since May. It may head back to that level. Right? It could head back to that level. And if that level is also broken, of course, there could be further downside. And then you will start to see that 100 days moving average start to slope down as well. So I think HL, I'm not too sure what is your current position on Tesla. But just a quick take, just be a little bit more careful if you are on you have currently a long position on it. Prices are testing that trading support. You may want to consider a trading plan. What is your stop loss? If it breaks below the trading support, are you going to reduce some exposure right there? That's something to think about. All right, so very quick one for Tesla. I will pass the time now to Z to cover the next stock.
All right, thanks, Mervin. Okay, so I think the next stock that I have over here will be a good time to give you guys an update as well, right? Because this GLD, I believe this a lot of people has also been asking us, over the past months, right? And also this was also one of the, ETFs, right? The ETF that we have been covering as, our bonus stock for a couple of times over the past AMAS session, right? So Joshua is asking, GLD, please, bullish or bearish? Okay, so for this, Joshua, I've already turned on the 1 GT indicator, the signals, and you can see right over here, we got a 1 GT bearish signal that actually came out on the 27th of October, right, on this day. But does it mean that, the stock will crash when you see a 1 GT bearish signal? No, right? You can see that actually the stock still looks pretty okay, right? So the thing is that when you look at the signals, the 1 GT bullish or bearish signal, it doesn't mean that, hey, once I see a 1 GT bearish signal, immediately I go and sell. Because at the end of the day, all these signals acts as another layer of confirmation. You want to look at everything in the big picture, right? You cannot just focus on one small thing and then make a decision based on that, right? You got to look at everything, including the moving average, which is the trend. That's the key thing, right? The key thing is we always want to be on the right side of the trend. We don't want to be against the trend, right? So based on this, we know that there's a 1 GT bearish signal, okay? But let's take a look at the trend itself. Moving averages wise, longer term trend, red and the blue line, right? 100 days and 200 days moving average, definitely they are still pointing up, right? If I were to scroll all the way back, they are pointing up back since 2024 Longer term trend, no problem, right? It has still been going up. Shorter term trend along the way, yes, there's been some sort of consolidation here and there, sideways, go up again, sideways, go up again, and now it seems like it is going back sideways, right? So longer term trend, no problem. Short term trend seems like it's taking a breather, taking a rest, right? Just kind of like going sideways. But at least it is not pointing down, right? At least it is not pointing down. And the longer term trend still okay, right? The longer term trend still okay. So as you can see over here, right, the price action over the past month that we can see is that we can actually spot the support and the resistance as well, right? Right over here, you can see around this 360, right? This was where I've drawn my support level, and also this green box here would be the support zone that I've drawn. right? And why did I draw this is because we can see that when prices actually retrace back and pull back, right, this was the level that it was actually tested, right? A couple of, I would say, and maybe at least a week lah. Buyers came in to step in to support the prices at this level, right? This was also where it actually broke above somewhere in October, at the start of October, right? So I would say that this 360 level is a level that has been tested at least a few times, not just one time, but a few times, right? So this would be considered what is called a support zone, right? And resistance very clearly right over here at this $400 psychological level, right? This was where selling pressure came in, sellers came in and pushed prices back down, right? And then we got a 1GT bearish signal coming out, right? So I don't know, maybe some of you guys, maybe you might have accumulated here. Congratulations, we are already sitting on profits, because indeed price have rebounded from the support zone right over here, right? And the thing is that now, okay, wait, sorry, this one I should change it to a rate, right? Because it's a resistance, right? It's a resistance. It's not a support, it's a resistance. So if prices continues to actually head up to 400, I think definitely it is okay to actually take some profits as well, right? Nothing wrong to actually take profits near the resistance zone, right? But if prices can break and hold above the $400, right, definitely we will likely see a 1GT bullish signal, and this 20 days moving average, right, it might start to show signs of it pointing back up again, right? And potential upside targets that we are looking towards is 420. And maybe you might ask, so how do you derive this 420, right? Very simple. You can see that this range that it was trading at for so long, right, since April to September, I just take basically this range and project it up. This is one of the potential upside target. It's not saying that I know that confirm it will go there. I don't know, right? I don't know. But the best way that we can do is based on the price action that has been, like the chart has been showing us for over the past months, right? And this is what we actually project up to towards to 420. So that is only if price can break and hold above the 400 first, then potential upside towards 420. But overall, based on this, based on the trend, what we are seeing is still looking pretty okay, right? Still looking pretty okay. Plus the fact that you see, if I were to turn on, this is what we call a trailing support and resistance function, right? And you can see prices, right, has indeed been inching up to test the resistance, and that is a good sign. That just means that there is more buying pressure returning to this counter, right? So for Joshua, I hope this analysis give you some insights as to whether you think gold is bullish or bearish, right? But based on this and what we have right now, I think overall it still looks pretty okay. I'm not too sure if you're actually holding on to the stock, but like I've mentioned, if you're holding on, it's okay to take some profits at around 400, right? Otherwise, you can consider if prices, I don't know whether will retrace or not, but if prices were to retrace back to the support zone, potentially that's where you can think of setting some price alert to take a look at the stock again, right? To think whether you want to accumulate some positions, enter some positions. But of course, always remember to have your downside risk management in check, whereby you need to have a stop loss order in place as well. Okay, so that would be a very quick one for gold. Back over to you, Joey, to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Let's move on to the next one, and that would be for this company called Palantir, PLTR. Palantir, I think some of you are asking about Palantir, so let me just go to just pull out the comments. I think the very first comment, right, by Damien. Damien, hope you're still over here, right? May I get your views on Palantir, PLTR? Having got in at around $194. Thanks in advance. Thank you so much. Thanks for giving us a bit of context. Now, let's take a look at Palantir right here. So I would say that Palantir, in fact, has been one of the really strong uptrending stocks since last year. I mean, take a look at the longer term trend. Look at the red line and the blue line, right? It has been pointing up since last year. Red above the blue last year, August. Last year, in fact, July, all right, both have been sloping upwards, very steady, longer term uptrend. So these are definitely some of the stocks about you want to think about, accumulating on this, right? But it doesn't mean that in the longer term, the trend is up, means that in the short term, you will, always be up as well. No, because in the short term, where we could be down for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month, all right, and that's where we could also see bearish signals coming out. So you can see right over here, we got a bearish signal, pump, it starts going down. Over here, we got a bearish signal, it starts coming down. In fact, just like last week, we got a bearish signal, seems like it's coming down a little bit, taking a little bit of a rest. Does it make sense so far? All right, so we take a look at the longer term trend first. First of all, we must be aligned with the longer term trend. If the short term trend is down, even though the longer term trend is up. Well, we don't want to rush, right? We want to just be patient. We want to wait for at least the short-term trend to also turn back up and maybe a new bullish signal coming out. Like what we see over here, look at this, right? I mean, just take a step back and see somewhere in April, right? The longer term trend was up. You look at the green line, it was actually down. It turned back up. We got 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 bullish signals. And what happened? There we go. 92%. Does it make sense about? All right, so that's what we look out for. So you can see, let's take a look at what has happened over the past few weeks, right? We got a bearish signal, came down, rested for a while. A new bullish signal came out. It went up a bit, but over the past 1 week, it seems like a new bearish signal have came out. So let's take a look, right? You've got in at 194. Is it, what's my view, right? Is it good to hold on to it? Well, let's take a look. So I would say that right now, right? Well, we got a 1GT bearish signal because we broke kind of like the trailing support. Let me just show you. We can turn on the trailing support that has been popping up since September. It followed. It went all the way up, and quite clearly we went below the 180. So 180 would be what we call a bit of a trailing support, whereby we give the stock the space to breathe, right? If you stay above it, it's good. If you go below it, not so good. A little bit of weakness. It just means some heavy selling have came back. It doesn't mean that you see a bearish signal as like what Z said. It doesn't mean you see a bearish signal means it's going to like come all the way down and it's going to crash, right? No. It's just one confirmation, right? But if you see a bearish signal plus this, then all saying going down, then of course not so good lah, right? But now it's only one bearish signal. Let's take a look at the short-term trend. So long-term trend, we agree is up already, right? I mean, the red and blue has been up since last year, so there are no problem. But let's take a look at the short-term trend, the green line. So I'll say the green line was like up in September, then flat a bit, then up a bit. Now I would say a bit flat, I would say, right? So it just means a bit of a consolidation. It's not really like down, but of course, if the green line were to be like this, then of course you want to be careful lah. That will be another confirmation that it is coming down. But as of what we're seeing right now, well, it is just flat, right? It just means some short-term consolidation. You see what I'm saying about? All right. So what would be the support level that it is consolidating at? Because if you're consolidating, you must be consolidating above something, right? And below a resistance level as well. Does it make sense? Right. So what could be the support level? Well, let's go to draw it right now. I would say that since about 2 months back, well, look at this, right? A couple of bullish candles, right? Long lower shadow hammers coming out, spinning top coming out as we approach the 170, whereby buyers actually started to appear, right? 1, 2, 3, 4 rebounded. Right now we are 172. So that's where hopefully some bargain hunting can come back again. But that's the first support level. So as I said, it doesn't mean you hit the support. Yes, rebounded 4 times means the 5th time you go there means you just go and buy. No, I mean that's just in a zone, whereby some bargain hunting can appear again, right? But if you spot something near that zone, you let it stabilize for a few more days, it still holds above, even better. That will be just confirmation that that support is indeed the support, right? It's indeed holding, like what it has done previously. Does it make sense, All right. So 170 could be a good support level, right? Next would be what we call the 150. Look at this. There was somewhere in July, rebounded over here. Look at this, right? Very strong bullish candle, long lower shadow, rebounded right over here. So if the 170 to break, then not so good. That's where we could potentially hit to 150. So I think you got in at 194. Well, I mean, we did see a bearish signal. It came back down. But overall, the longer term trend still looks good. So normally what we want to do is we want to have a plan. But right, if I'm not too sure about your position sizing, how many shares you bought and stuff, but you want to have a plan by right? For example, if the 170 were to break down, all right, by right, you have a plan to get out, to reduce some exposure, to cut loss as well, if you would have seen a bearish signal already. Right, but the only good thing, as I say, is that the longer term trend is up. So maybe you have a bit more flexibility in that sense. But if your position size is huge, as I said, I'm not too sure what's your position size, right? Is it a trading position? If it's a huge position size, then by right you need to plan to get out, especially if 170 with the breakdown. To be honest, we may even hit to 150. If 150 break down, it even not so good. That's where I would say the green line will really start to point out already, and then maybe we might see another bearish signal, and then you really want to get out already. Does it make sense? Right? But so far, well, hopefully the 170 holds, 172 tonight. Hopefully we go to 175, 180, whatever, above 170. Great. We consolidate there. We stay above the support level. Maybe a new bullish signal comes out. even better. Then that could lead to the next upside phase. But right now, we are kind of like, a bit of a weakness have came back. Thankfully, we're still above the support level for now. All right, so I hope that I've given you a bit of a understanding of what's the key levels to take note, what's on the support, whereby if we do break, you might want to be careful as well. You might want to have a plan to stop loss, depending on your position size. All right, so that will be for Palantir, PLTR. Let me pass on the mic to Bervin, all right, to cover the next US stock.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, let's see right here. Let me just throw up my screen. All right, okay, let's go. Pauline, hi. Own some Alphabet shares, Google shares. Okay, is it time to take some profits? Okay, let's just see on my screen right here. I think we have Google. I think you have, if you have been holding it for quite a while, since this first one GT bullish signal up to yesterday, 70%, 70% profits already. So not too bad. So, but for Google, here's what we see. See, the longer term trend actually only truly firmed up most recently on the 5th of September. Why? I would say this is because that was when the 100 days moving average finally crossed above the 200 days moving average and pushed off, higher, further apart. Previously, it was just pretty much just consolidating within that range since the start of the late of 2024 up to May of 2025. Is still just pretty much between the 140 and the $200 range. It truly broke above when we actually see this one GT bullish signal that actually came in August. In August, a few days later, we got that 100 days moving average crossing above the 200 days moving average very, very quickly. Didn't really consolidate much. Pushed to that 260 level. Broke above that 260 level in October. All right, so there's a little bit of a range right here. A bit of a range right here. I would say just about that 235 to about that 240 support zone right there. There could be a little bit of a consolidation. Can see that 20 days moving average had flattened out a little bit during that point of time as well. And finally, it broke above that 260 level after 2 tries. All right, so now we are definitely in a higher phase, in the next leg of that uptrend already. All right, so you own some of these shares. What are the steps to take, to actually protect those profits, protect those gains that you already have secured so far? I think the immediate support, yes, I will put it right around that key support level about 260, but you could find a temporary support just about that 275 level, temporary support, very close to that 20 days moving average as well. Prices have rebounded from this level, I think just last week as well, right here. It just rebounded from there, right? So, but your upside still remains. To about a psychological $300 level. So, typically when the prices are at all-time high, we want to try to look out for the psychological levels first, right? So that $300 level is one that you can potentially watch out for. And if it gives way, all right, Pauline, if it gives way, you can draw your next upside up to 325 to maybe even to 330 as well. But as of right now, it looks like the shorter term trend alongside that longer term trend are still looking very good. In fact, all right, no new 1GT bullish signal. All right, but that 1GT bullish signal from August is still playing out. And so you're on a good position right now. So I'm not too sure if you have the access to the 1GT Pro indicator, but you can actually see that the trailing support is right around that 263 level, 263 level. So maybe if you are able to, there's no reason to actually get out at this point, right? Just a little bit of weakness the last 2 days, a little bit of profit taking come in, but overall the trend still looks good. So perhaps you may want to just use that trailing support as a reference level for your stop limit orders, right? Your stop limit, maybe 2 to 3%, right? 2 to 3% below that trailing support of 263. All right, so here we go. About 3% below, that's about 255, right? So that shows a couple of things. That trailing support is broken. You want to be careful. that $260 key support level would also be broken by then if prices head down lower to that level. And then maybe perhaps you still will be sitting on some profits, and maybe it's time to get out or reduce a little bit of that exposure first, to then subsequently reposition yourself again. But as of right now, it still looks like it is rather good. You're still in a good position. You may see a little bit of a ding dong sideways movement towards that $300 level, coming down a little bit, heading up. We want to see a little bit of consolidation just under that $300 level. And if there's any bullish candlesticks, maybe you can take note of those as well. You may see that $300 level give way, opening the next phase of that longer term uptrend. All right, so is it time to take profit? I say it still looks good right now. You think you can continue to ride that trend? No reason to give up on that uptrend, although I know it has moved up quite a little bit. Let's just see if there's any further upside for you. Just take care of your downside in the meantime. All right, okay, so Pauline, I think hopefully that helps for Alphabet. I think pass the time now to Z to actually cover the next requested stock.
All right, thanks, Vervin. Okay, so the next stock that I have here will be by Serena, right? Serena is asking about this stock called Rigetti, right? Can you please look at Rigetti intending to buy? So actually, I don't really know about this stock as well until, one of our mentees actually also shared with us about this stock. Then, actually, I look at this stock. This is actually, I think, quite a volatile stock because this stock, right, and this company actually deal a lot with quantum computing, right? So Serena is intending to buy. So how many of you guys are here right now? About 167. So maybe I can ask you guys for your help. Based on the chart right now, when I turn on everything, and you guys can see, do you think Serena should buy or should wait? You guys let me know. B for buy, W for wait. What do you guys think? You guys can help me advise Serena as well. Do you think she should buy or wait? Let's see what you guys say. Wong Tat, wait. JP, wait. Ivan, wait. Ed, wait. Glenn, wait. Ivory, wait. Harish, wait. Francis, wait. Anne, wait. Fiona, wait. Wow, a lot of you guys all say wait. Nobody say bye. I hope nobody say bye right? Okay, let me just pull out Serena's chat here again. Okay, let me see. Where is it? Okay, right here. Okay, so a lot of you guys actually say wait, and I'm very glad that nobody actually say bye in the chat right now. Why? Because first thing first, when we look at the trend, right? When we look at the short-term trend, we see that, what do we see? We see that the 20 days moving average is actually steeply pointing down. And plus, the fact that price action is also following so and is also going down. And on top of that, we also got this 1 GT bearish signal, right? So it just means that the short-term wise, right, the selling pressure is actually very strong, right? Even though, yes, we do see that the longer-term trend, I think still looks okay. It's not that bad. It's not pointing down. But the short-term trend is very strong, right? That is going down. It's going down. And we do not see any sort of stabilization yet whereby, where are buyers willing to come back to step in to support the prices? We can't see that over the past few weeks. At least because we can see that, over the past couple of weeks, we look at just purely the candlestick, right? It has just been going down, right? So if you have bought here, maybe you think that, $36, is cheaper than, prices when it was at October in about 50 over dollars, right? Then you buy. Then after that, the price go down again. Then actually, $32 also look cheap compared to 2 weeks ago when it was at $36. Buy again. Then this is where the mistakes usually comes in because people usually think about averaging down, right? Like, wow, the price actually got cheaper, I want to buy in. But the thing is that we don't want to anyhow buy, right? We want to buy only when we see more confirmation. So I think for Serena, right, one thing that maybe you might want to monitor very closely definitely would be these $20 psychological support level, right? We can see that this $20, right, previously it was tested as a resistance back at the start of the year, right, in January, right? After that, it didn't manage to break above it. Selling pressure came in to push price back down, and then subsequently, prices started to head back up very slowly, right? And this was where it was prices near it but didn't touch it, unable to break above it. Only finally somewhere this year in September, right, prices managed to break above it. But just bear in mind that this stock, right, actually is a very volatile stock because Let me just zoom it out. As you can see for yourself, back prior before 2025, this stock practically doesn't have much movement. Just look at this. It is very volatile. It's only somewhere at the start of this year, when people talk about AI, quantum computing, wow, then a lot of interest started to return back to this stock. And this is where price moves, right? Price move. But when price move, we still want to take note of where are the buyers coming in, where are the sellers coming in. So back to this, right? $20, I would say, would be the crucial psychological support that you want to take note of, right? To see whether if prices the next few days it goes back to test this $20 support, can this $20 support hold or not? Because if this $20 doesn't hold, right, definitely we will see more weakness returning back to this counter, right? And potentially, maybe let's find out where is the next support level that potentially buyers could come back, right? Maybe around this $14 or $15 right over here, around this zone, right? This is where the downside that we are looking towards if prices is unable to hold above $20, right? But if let's say price come down to $20 and then buyers started to come back in and support the prices at this level, right? The next thing that you want to monitor and look out for definitely would be for the 20 days moving average, right? To stop pointing out, at least for it to just move sideways first, right? Because we want to know that there's the selling pressure has stopped already and buyers are coming into support, right? That is then when we want to take a look at this stock and then see for the next confirmation where is the 1GT bullish signal coming out. If there's another 1GT bullish signal, great, right? Because at least now I know that sellers have stopped, buyers have come in, we have another confirmation from the 1GT bullish signal, and then that's where potentially we can take a look at this stock again to think about entering, right? So at this point in time, based on all of this that we have just mentioned and discussed, right, I think first thing first, maybe Serena, you want to consider to set price alert right, around this $20 and also definitely below this $20 to see whether it can really hold above it first or not before taking any further action because we don't want to buy when the short-term trend is actually still very strong and we got a 1GT bearish signal. Sometimes it is also good to practice some patience and to monitor and wait. Okay, so that would be for Rigetti Computing. Back over to you, Joey, to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Let's move on to the next one, right? I think next stock is pretty interesting, right? I think some of you are asking about it. We have I'm large asking about this stock called CoreWeave. I think the code is CRWV. All right, I think Laura asking about CoreWeave as well. I'm holding CoreWeave, bought at 157. Should I cut loss or average down or buy some more? Right? Let's find out. Right. So let's see. Maybe you can help me out here, guys. This is CoreWeave. Let's help Laura. Out right now. Should he buy some more or average down? He's going to buy some more, or should he think about getting out? Right. So type 1, guys. Type 1, you think you should buy some more. All right. Type 2. If you think you should get out, don't buy that kind of thing. Type 2 for get out. Type 1 for go and buy some more. Let me know, guys, what do you guys think about CoreWeave? 1 for buy some more, 2 for get out. Let me know, right? So hopefully we can help Laura here, right? Is it 1 to go and buy some more or 2 to don't go and buy it, right? To get out, to cut loss, to Let's see. So okay, Laura, now I say what everybody's saying. You see, right? 2, get out, sell, potential bull flag, 2, what? Get out and still short some more. Sell. All right. 2. Thanks, Peter, Akashi, Victor. Thank you, Ian, as well. All right. So you can see that quite clearly, Laura, this stock, I think why everybody's saying that is because we got not 1, but we got 2 1GT bearish signal right over here, right? 1 came out, I would say, somewhere in 6th of November, last Thursday. And in fact, yesterday, right? Yesterday came out another 1GT bearish signal. So it just looks a bit more bearish lah. All right, you got not 1, but got 2 leh. Right, 2 bearish signal. And you can see that the green line. So when we look at the trend, we look at this stock, we look at what we call the green 20 days moving average line. If the green line is pointing up, well, okay, fine. You can see you started to see a bit of a reversal, right? But we remained flat for a while. A bearish signal came out and look at the green line now. Let me just zoom in for you, right? Quite clearly, the green 20 days moving average line has started to slope down, right? Not just last week, I think since last week, already starting to slope down. So if you have got in, I would say at 157, 157 would be maybe, I think in June, right? I think maybe it was right over here, it came down, you see, we got a bearish signal, it went all the way down. Well, the point here is that we normally do not want to buy more, all right? Because when I see your comment about kind of like to average down, let me just pull up again, right? Where is it, right? To average down. Okay, I kind of like lost it, but you mentioned to cut loss or maybe to go and buy some more, right? Since anyway buy already go down, either you buy some more or you get out, right? So first thing first, when the stock is in a downtrend, we never average down. We never, we don't buy just because it's cheap. Because I think all of you can agree that in a downtrend, especially when all things are pointing down, confirmations are all saying that it's going lower and lower. If you get in, you average down, you buy some more. Well, you might think it's cheap, right? But cheap gets cheaper in a downtrend, right? The cheap trend, right? You buy some more, it go down some more. You go buy some more, it go down some more, all right? And you buy, go down, buy, go down, buy, go down until it's bye-bye to you, right? So we never want to buy a stock just because it's cheap. We only buy a stock when there are clear signs of a reversal, all right? Or a stock that is already strong in an uptrend, right? That has already proven itself in an uptrend. Does it make sense? All right, that's the only reason why we're buying a stock, right? Not because it's cheap. It's okay, cheap one we don't want, right? I mean, you want cheap stuff, you go to the 11 sale lah, Lazada sale, whatever, right? No problem outside. Okay? But in the stock market, we don't want all this cheap bargain kind of thing. We don't really like it lah. We like strength, we like expensive. I don't mind because it means the strength. Does it make sense about? Right? So let's take a look at call week. You can see that we got 2 1GT bearish signal, right? So I think all of you can agree that you type number 2 just now, it means that don't buy, right? Sell, get out. Some even say short, sell, and But the key here is that we have broken right over here the support level, right? Look at this. That was where we were in August. Rebounded. Well, it was still quite okay. The green light turned out, we got a bullish signal. But over the past one day, another 1GT bearish signal have came out. Wow, because so the first one came out last Thursday. Yesterday, another bearish signal Thursday night. And we actually went below the 85 horizontal support level. So it definitely looks more bearish already. Just be careful. I mean, I'm not saying that you go down, but if so what, we are now at $78.34. So we've broken the 85, we've broken the $80. If you want to look at what we call the next support level, well, we could look at the past and see what could be potential levels. So it could be right over here at 60, right? It could be right over here at maybe that 35, right? Those are potential support levels whereby we were right there, we indeed rebounded in April, right? But the fact is that doesn't mean you hit that means you rebound. No, if we break all these support levels like 60, like 35, it could hit even lower and lower. We may even see a new bearish signal coming out as well. So that's why we never want to buy a stock, that is breaking support, that we are getting bearish signal whereby the green line is still pointing down, the short-term trend is down. Make sense? Right? So this is call wave. I hope that helps, Laura. So normally you won't have a plan to get out, all right? And worse, don't go and buy some more and average down and then double down on the losers, and then it goes down even more, right? That will kind of like wipe out your capital, your portfolio very quickly. You see what I'm saying about? All right. So that will be for call wave, right? And I think for those of you who are helping Laura, right? I think all of you said sell, get out, and I think the reason was because you actually see the bearish signals coming out. All right, so let me just share with you guys, as I say, if you want to get access to test drive the one good trend alike indicator. So we're using the pro indicator, but we have this light version, right? So go ahead, click on the link in the chat, right? This place in the chat. You come to this page right over here, right? The most incredible free gift ever in the stock market, right? Test drive my one good trend light indicator for free, whereby on any stocks, any asset classes, whether it's Alphabet, Meta, Core Weave, whatever, right? You get an opinion in seconds based on the bullish or bearish signals, right? To get in and also know when to get out lah. Does it make sense? This is the link. Click on it. You come to this page. You get over $3,997 worth of training, of pure money making information, right? Videos training just to guide you and move you forward. All right. So that is the link. Check it out. Link is right in chat. Hopefully you guys can have access to the light version of the 1GT indicator just to guide you on when to get in and also when to get out as well. All right, so let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next stock. Bervin, yours.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so next stock. Let's do this. All right. Emmanuel can cover GDS Holdings. Looking to take a position, expecting good results on the 19th of November. 19th of November is next week. Wednesday. Okay, sure. Okay, so you can actually see on TradingView, the earnings is right there. Haven't come out yet. Still waiting. Okay, but what do we have here for GDS? All right, okay, so we can see, yeah, I can see a point where maybe you're looking at the longer term moving averages. Yeah, still currently, pointing up, the longer term uptrend still intact, but we actually see a little bit of weakness also. Must identify that there's a little bit of weakness here as well, with prices retracing from the $42 to $43 resistance level since September. Found a new lower high right here at about that $37.50 level. Right, previously there was a 1GT bullish signal, but prices did not manage to break above that $42 level. Oh, we got a 1GT bearish signal right here now. All right, 1GT bearish signal right here. They came out on the 17th of October. Subsequently, prices pulled back from that $37.50 level. And right now, we are trading very, very close to that $30 support level, that psychological level. That 20 days moving average, right, Emmanuel, is currently pointing down. Prices are trading under all three moving averages. 20 days moving average crossing below that 100 days moving average already. All right, so if I know you're expecting good results and then your prices may rebound higher to the $38 level, but here's what I believe. All right, here I believe that the stock prices are reflected, or the market sentiment is reflected in the stock prices. So you may feel that the earnings could be good, but the market could feel that the earnings may not be as good. That's why prices are getting pushed down lower. But if you ask me what I think about earnings, I can tell you I don't know. I haven't been following this company as well, and even if I did, your guess will be as good as mine to what an earnings result will be. We are not insiders. We do not have that information as well, whether it will turn out good as well. So I think we have to focus on what we can see only at this point. Okay, so we are actually seeing that if this $30 level is broken, we potentially head to a next support level, a lower support. Lower support could be found around that maybe $22 to $21. Maybe let's call it that $22 level right there. Previously, that was where it rebounded in May as well. So I think you want to be a little bit more careful, because if this level is broken, maybe you'll see another 1GT bearish signal coming right in. So I think you have to take extra care, because if there's a 1GT bearish signal right there, typically you do not want to rush in to buy already. Typically you don't want to rush in to buy already. Wait for a little bit more confirmation signals first. All right, if the prices may be able to hold above that $30, hold above that $30, great, hit higher again. We just push up a little bit higher, breaking that nearer term, lower high pattern now, above that $38. Hey, then you maybe will see that 20 days moving average once again above that 100 days moving average. Great. I think that is when you can position yourself for an entry. You will maybe then see a 1GT bullish signal coming in, but will you be buying a little bit more expensive, Emmanuel? Yes. You'll be buying a little bit more expensive. Will it be very uncomfortable? Yes, it will be very uncomfortable. But does it give you a little bit more conviction? Yes, it will give you a little bit more conviction. So you see the point I'm getting at here. It is okay to buy a little bit more expensive. Give yourself a little bit more certainty. Do you want to take an additional gamble on that earnings? I'm not sure. But typically, if you do not like the additional volatility, I say do not need to rush in to buy because you think the earnings is good, because ultimately we do not know as well. All right, so I think GDS, I think so far it looks like there is some nearer term weakness. All right, I know we are still in the midst of that earnings season, and we're going towards the end of it as well. All right, so on that note of earnings season, because Joey and the team have actually sent out our monthly newsletter with the earnings calendar for all of Joey's clients. Can I just check who in this chat is actually Joey's clients? We just want to be a little bit grateful for you guys being here, supporting us, supporting our weekly AMAS as well. If you are a client of Joey's, can you just type C in the chat?
Yeah, type C, guys. Type C in the chat if you are a client of mine in Philip Securities. That means what is the client? Well, basically, you have a trading account under me in Philip Securities. All right. Let us know. All right. I think we do have quite a lot of clients joining us every single week. Wow, thank you so much. Client, me, Glenn, Dave, Glenn, JP as well, Akitashi, a lot of clients over here. Awesome. All right. Thank you so much for the support, guys. All right. For those of you who have been, have a trading account under me, supporting us through trading under us and Philip Securities under me. All right. Thank you so much for the support. All right. Thank you. And Bavin, maybe you can share a little bit on some of the services that our clients are getting, like all our clients over here.
Wow, where do I start? If you are talking about what benefits you can have or what value add, I'll call it value add that you can have if you are a client under Joey is firstly, I think monetary wise, you think you do not have to pay any additional cost. All right, no additional cost on top of what you are actually currently paying for a trade. You need to play a trade, you need to pay the brokerage. There is no additional cost on top of that. And what do you get? You get daily trading ideas, market reports, market updates, sent out, vetted by Joey, sent out to all his clients, on a regular basis. Of course, Saturday, Sunday don't have because market not trading. But I don't think many brokers are actually doing this. So if you are currently trading somewhere else, I don't know where you are trading, all right, you probably need a trading account. All right, is your broker on the other side doing anything? Any slightest thing for you? Is there a WhatsApp for you can reach out to? Is there somebody that you can get them to look into your account for you? Is there somebody can give you a quick opinion? Is there anybody servicing you? Not just some hotline, talk to the bot. Press 1 for English, press 2 for Chinese. Here don't have. Here don't have. You call somebody to pick up. Hello, Mr. Lee. Different. So
Definitely.
if you haven't signed up to be a client or haven't experienced their clients what Joey's clients experience here over at Philip Securities, I think just click the link in the chat. I think Z very kindly put the link in the chat already. I don't think you will regret.
Yeah, find out more. I mean, I would say that I think what Bavin says is correct, right? I mean, basically, as a client of mine in Philip Securities, like all our clients over here, like Peter, Khalid, Benjamin, Chai Hong, we have Mahiri, Adida as well, Jin Jie, Ivan, thank you so much, right? So essentially, that's where our clients get on a daily basis some of our top trading ideas, all right, for free, for free, at no additional cost. You do not pay anything more, just to be 100% clear, right? It's the same as whatever you pay when you're trading, right? The only thing is that your broker got do anything, I mean, nobody do anything. Then you're like one person just log into the online platform, mobile app, own self click, own self buy. Nobody send you any idea, video, WhatsApp, training, nothing. You click on the link to find out more, but actually don't need to hear what I say. You just click on the link, you scroll down, and you check out what some of our clients are saying. In fact, some of our clients over here maybe have left some of the reviews for us. All right, then you can find out a bit more. Okay, Ken. So that would be thank you so much, Bavin, for sharing that as well regarding those of you who are not yet a client. Check out the links right in the chat. Find out how you can get some of our top ideas, private trainings for free at no additional cost. Anything to add, Bavin, before we move on to the next talk?
Yeah, just a quick thing. I think Benjamin pointed out a very fantastic point here. I will agree with him. Recent quarterly earnings, many firms reported solid earnings beat, out of expectations, but share price dropped. Why? Maybe forecast is not good. So forecast not good, macroeconomics not good. The general market is uncertain. So Emmanuel, you just want to be a little bit more careful. So you can see that earnings is coming. Doesn't mean you have to bet on those earnings. You can take a position after, in fact, as well, once you get all those confirmations in. All right, so I think that is for GDS. Hopefully it helps you. Pass the time now to Z to cover the next talk.
Yeah, sure. Right. Thanks, Bavin. Okay, I think before I cover the next talk, right, I think maybe I will just go through what we have already covered, right? So that, if any of you guys have missed it, don't worry, because after this live show, you can actually go to Joey's YouTube channel to watch the replay, okay? So Joey first started off with, a very quick market update, right, of the SPX and the Dow Jones, right, S&P 500 and Dow Jones. The first stock that was covered by Joey will be Micron, right, followed by Bavin, covered Citigroup, and then we covered Visa. The next one will be Meta, Tesla, and GLD, which is SPDR Gold shares, right? Following by Palantir and Google, Alphabet. And then the next one would be Rigetti Computing, right? RGTI, that's the stock code. And followed by CRWV. And Bavin just covered GDS Holdings. Okay, so those are the 11 stocks that have been covered so far, and now I'll be covering the 12 stocks. Then perhaps maybe, I don't know, maybe Joey will say that we'll go one more round, right, before we actually, share our bonus stock for today. Okay, so the stock that I'll be covering right now, which is the 12 stock, would be this stock by Christina, right? Christina is actually asking about Iris Mining, RARMN. Christina, I hope you're still here, right? You're asking whether is it okay to buy, what's a good entry point. Let's take a look at this, right? So actually this company, never really heard about it before, but I just take a quick look at it. I think it's a small cap mining company in the US, if I'm not wrong. And based on this, I think when you are asking this question, you are thinking to buy, right? At least the stock that you are thinking to buy, at this point in time, the trend looks okay, right? The blue and the red line is pointing up, and the green line, we can see if I have to zoom in, right? It was actually flattening out, but now it has started to point back up, right? So at least you're on the right. The first step, right, is correct already. You choose a stock that actually is in an uptrend, right? Not in a downtrend. That's good, right? And second thing, I've already turned on the 1GT bullish and bearish signal, right? And what do we see? Very recently, just a few days back, we actually see a 1GT bullish signal, right? A 1GT bullish signal on 12th of November, right? 12th of November. And prices now, as of yesterday, when it closed at 11.37, is still holding, the 1GT bullish signal is still playing out, all right? So then let's take a look at the support and the resistance level, right? Then that's where, it can help you to find out where are some of the zones that you can potentially take note of, right? So for Iris Mining, definitely the uptrend, I don't have to say that, right? It was actually going up even, at the start of the year. We had a confirmation, right? When the red and the blue line crosses over somewhere in May, short-term trend definitely still looks good. It's still heading up, right? Somewhere, in August, we get another 1GT bullish signal, price went all the way up. And this was where, price action wise, we start to see some consolidation happening, right over here, right? And that range is between this $9, right? This $9 support level right over here, and the resistance zone around this $11, right? Can you guys see that? You see this $9, right? Prices break above it, became a support level. Selling pressure came back, push price down, and this actually happened. We have a long lower shadow near the support zone, right? And that just means that the buyers come in to support already, right? The bulls come in to support, right? To prevent it from falling further, right? And another time it got tested right over here, right? So it definitely $9 has been tested multiple times, right? As a support zone, okay? And this level, $11, I would say, will be a resistance zone, right? Whereby when it reaches that level, unable to break above, selling pressure came in, push price back down, we got 1GT bearish signal. And just a couple of days back, prices broke above this $11, right? So $11 essentially is what we call a resistance turn to become a support, and it is a new higher support that's being found, right? So far, it is still holding above it, right? But I'm not too sure whether it will continue to hold above it or not. If you ask me whether tonight will it hold above it, I don't know, right? The next week, can it hold above it? I don't know. But I know that this $11, so at this point in time, is a resistance turn to become what we call a support, right? And based on the Joey's 1GT framework and strategy, where do we want to buy when the stock is in an uptrend? Very clearly, this stock is already in an uptrend now. We already talked about that, right? We want to buy when it is near a support, right? And right now, is this what we consider a support zone? Yes, I would say that definitely $11, like we mentioned, resistance turn to become a support. This is a new higher support zone that is being found. And this is what we consider as, a breakout strategy, right? And usually breakout strategy always carry more risk because it's a breakout, right? So the key thing is you still got to make sure that you keep your downside in check. Maybe you can place, your stop loss order or, your stop limit order slightly below the support level, right? The $11 to manage your downside risk, right? Of course, do take into account of your position sizing as well, okay? And as long as price is able to hold above the $11 psychological level, I think potential upside targets that we are looking at is towards the $13. How did I get this $13? Very simple. Based on this projection range that, it has been trading, over the past couple of months, projected up, right? Very simply, the next upside target that we are looking at towards would be $13, right? Right over here, which is a sell zone. So if prices were to hit to this level, then this is where you can consider, to actually take some profits, right? Maybe you don't have to take all. You want to take all also can. But if not, you can take half, take partial profits. It's also fine, right? Because the longer term uptrend is actually still intact. And if prices continue to find higher supports along the way, break resistance, find new higher support, then that's when you can use the balance of your position to continue to ride the uptrend. Okay, so Christina, I hope that helps to give you some idea to think about, especially, remember to set some price alert, right, near the support zone, near the resistance zone, and also to have your downside managed, whereby have a stop loss plan in place. Okay, so that would be for Iris Mining. Okay, back over to you, Joey, to cover the next stock.
All right, thank you so much, Z. So I think maybe we have covered like a total of 12 stocks. We can go one last final round, right? One last final round. Hopefully, guys, we will pick your stocks, but maybe, right, your stocks might not be the one that we are covered, because maybe it might be a bonus stock at the end as well, right? So we will not want to cover it because we'll be covering 2 times, right? So it could be. So make sure you stay all the way to the end, guys. If you want to know what are the 3 bonus stocks that me, Bervin, and Z will share with you at the end of today's session. Okay, Ken? So let me go ahead to pick another one right now. Okay, I think we can go ahead to cover this stock right over here. And that is asked by user. Okay, right. Okay, let's take a look. This stock is called Powell Industries. The code is POWL. Okay, hi, Joey and team. Holding POWL with profits. Awesome, right? I'm not too sure when you bought or what kind of profits you are sitting on, right? But let's take a look, right? Yesterday, big drop and 1GT down signal appeared. Very good. So it seems like you actually have access to the indicator, right? The right over here, the signals coming out as well. Very good. Accumulate or sell off. Please advise. Thank you so much for giving us a bit of context. Just that I'm not too sure exactly what price you bought in, right? But let's take a look at Powell Industry right now. You can see that previously in beginning of the year, right, we got bearish signals coming out. I know we have been talking about, bearish signals coming out, wait for confirmations to get that in, to write the reversal and all that, right? And I felt that this could be a very good example, right? I think like Meta, right? I talked about Meta just now, whereby it hasn't came out yet, right? But when could it come out, and what do we look out for? Well, right over here, right, you can see that we finally came out, not 1 month or not 2 months or not 3 months after that. I think after like 6 months, then it finally came out, right? So there's no time frame to, this bullish signal will come out when, then you get in. We don't know exactly when it comes out, but when it comes out, we will know, because we can set an alert for it. Once it comes out, we will be alerted. I mean, we can set an alert for any bullish and bearish signal. Let me just show you, right? We can right click, set an alert right over here, go to this One Good Trend Pro indicator, buy or sell alert once per bar, and create. Then some people might ask me, Joey, alert by what now? What does it do? It send me an email or what? But essentially you can set, right? You can set notify in apps. It could be an app notification thing, first one thing, right? One sound, a toast notification, basically a pop-up right over here, or even send me email as well. So last time I used to take everything, but in my email too many, and too many pop-up as well, too many app notifications. So I decided to just put over like a pop-up. But with the fact that we can be alerted if there are any bullish or bearish signals. Does it make sense, Mark? All right, so that's how we can be alerted on this move. So hopefully, right, user EF2UR, hopefully you have got in like earlier. I'm not too sure where, but let's say you've got in right over here when you see the bullish signal, the green line turn up easily. I don't know how many percent would that be, right? To the bearish signal, 75%, right? In about 4 or 5 months, pretty okay, right? So yesterday, big drop. Let's find out. Yes, indeed, right? It seems like it's a pretty big drop, and we got a 1GT bearish signal. So accumulate or sell off. So if it's a 75% gain, I mean, you have rode the upside from here. I think it's good to take some profit and get out, right? Why? Because a bearish signal have came out. Doesn't mean you see a bearish signal means it's going to crash. I agree, right? But the fact is that it's a 75% gain, right? I mean, for the past 5-6 months, we have been pushing higher and higher. There's no bearish signal, and suddenly it comes, right? So it just means some selling is coming back. Why not get out first, take some profit, wait for a pullback, wait for a re-entry again? Does it make sense? All right. And let's take a look at why the bearish signal actually got triggered yesterday, right? So let's go to turn on what we call the trailing support and resistance, one of the very powerful features of the One Good Trend Pro indicator. So you can see, right, when we got this first 1GT bullish signal popping out on the 27th of June, a trailing support has popped up, right? And as I mentioned just now, a trailing support follows a stock as it moves up, right? It gives it space to breathe. It accounts for the natural volatility of a stock. So if you are above it, no problem. I mean, it has been above like for the past 5 months, so no issue, right? Even you can see right over here, somewhere in August, it neared it and then rebound from it as well, right? So as long as you stay above it, it follow up, flat, follow, and right over here. But over the past few days, in fact, just last night, we kind of like went below the 340 trailing support level. Does it make sense? Right over here, can you see? Right, we went below the 340. Now it's 328. So we went below the trailing support, whereby we have given you space already. By right, you should be above one. I mean, if you're good, right? But you go below it, I mean, something a bit shaky, not so good. Good to take some profit, get out. And if you would have got in previously, all right, we could put a stop loss below the trailing support. So that's what we do, right? Put a stop loss below the trailing support. Let me show you what I mean, right? So there could be a stop loss right over here. As prices move higher, you raise it up, right? But you don't raise it above the trailing support. You raise it still below the trailing support, but you follow it, follow, pump. Yesterday, pump, it hit, you get out, you make money, you take steps to put the money in your pocket while you can, all right? So that's what we call protecting profits, right? So it doesn't matter whether it goes up or down, doesn't matter, all right? Right now, it's a new trade setup again. You can look for a re-entry, but at least you have realized the gains that you have made, all right? So I would advise to normally when you see a bearish signal, more than 70, 50, 60% gain, take it, get out, wait to accumulate again. Not accumulate again, I mean like right now, but wait for the time to accumulate again when there are signs of stability again. Like let's take the green line. You can see the green line, right? So long-term trend, no problem. Look at the red and blue line, no problem, okay? But in the short term, we could still see some weakness. It could be to 320, it could be 300, it could be to 280. I don't know, right? But let's let it play out first, right? Let's wait for the green line. You can see, right, the green 20 days moving average line. I would say slightly, only a bit, right? Slightly pointing down, but I can tell you, if we stay below 340, 330, right? It will continue to point out even more. So let's just let it stabilize first, wait for the green line to flatten out, maybe show signs of a reversal to potentially think about getting in and timing our entry to accumulate on dips again. All right, so that we for POWL. All right, so hopefully lock in some profits, get out, and kind of like position again for the next trade back up. Okay, let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover the next stock. Bervin, yes.
All right, thanks, Joey. Okay, so let's see right here. Okay, Benjamin. All right, Benjamin is looking at longing STRL. STRL is Sterling Infrastructures. After a huge price drop yesterday, right? Indeed, prices have pulled back very aggressively. In fact, from that $400 psychological level, I pulled back quite a little bit, very close to that 320 support. Is trading close at 326 yesterday. I mean, but I think this was one of the stocks we were looking at previously as well. Look at that. There was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 GT bullish signal up to then. Is there any 1 GT bearish signal that appeared from last night's, even from last night's drop? No, not yet. All right, so very quickly, I think we want to look at the longer term moving average. Still good. However, in the nearer term, I just want to zoom in a little bit so we can all take a look. That 20 days moving average as of yesterday have started to definitely point down. Like it was a very aggressive sell down. And this is a kind of very bearish candlesticks that we see that sellers were very much in control. Very much in control. The sellers pushing prices back down. Buyers don't really stand a chance as well. Not seeing any long lower shadow to push prices back up. This is a sign of nearer term weakness. Nearer term weakness that is currently present. All right, so I know we are saying that buy close to this support. Yes, makes sense. But with this bearish candlestick, you maybe want to exercise a little bit of caution. All right, Benjamin, turn on that trailing support and resistance. You can see right here. Sorry, that's not what counter was looking at. I say it was very close to the trailing support. Well, this one even closer. Just barely, very barely closing above that trailing support already. So I think be a little bit careful. I mean, yes, accumulate close to that trailing support is a possibility, but what I think right now to alleviate a little bit of that risk, let's look for a little bit of price stabilization. All right, so previously also something like that on the 24th of September, prices pulled back very aggressively. Right, we then see prices consolidate for a phase first, right? Very close to that support. Consolidated 1, 2, 3, 4 days right here before it started to push higher. I would like to see if that case or that history can repeat itself again. All right, history can repeat itself and we see prices or buyers starting to come in above that 320 support. I think that would be a good sign that that valid 1GT bullish signals can remain in play. There are still buyers keen for bargain hunting. We don't see an immediate sell down next to that $260 support, then I think yes, then is where you can position yourself for an entry. So yeah, you're opening yourself to a window for bargain hunting, but let's not forget the risk because there is a very, very bearish candlestick still present as of yesterday close. Right? If we are able to accumulate close to the dips after that, close to the support after that consolidation, yes, I think you can ride that upside back to that $400 level. All right, that $400 level gives way. I think definitely will open that next uptrend to about 480, and then definitely that 20 days moving average will be looking better as well. But yeah, as of now, that 100 days, 200 days moving and longer term trend still remains intact. So I think Benjamin just set up some alerts. You don't want to be caught in a position where if prices break below 320 support, you are still holding, because I think that at that point of time you may see a 1GT bearish signal come in already. You have to consider your trading plan before you get in. But I think thanks for pointing this out as well. I think it's something to look at. If we can able to consolidate, great, can push higher. I think this is a window of opportunity for a lot of people as well. All right, thanks Benjamin for sharing this. Pass the time now to Z to cover the last stock.
All right, thanks, Melvin. Okay, so I share my screen right here, and the last stock that I have for you guys before we move on to the bonus section would be by Kenneth, right? Kenneth, I hope you are still here. You are asking about GLW, right? Corning Incorporated, right? Looking to buy more, right? Seems like it's nearing the support. Fundamentals looks reasonable, and Apple is one of its main client. What are your thoughts? Thanks for sharing. Actually, for this content, I don't really know what it does. I just went to do a very quick look at it. I think it is in the electrical components segment, like the provision of the glass of notebook, computer, flat panel, desktop monitor. Yeah, so Apple is one of the clients. Okay, interesting. But let's take a look at the the technical, right? Apart from the fundamentals, right? The technical, what does it say, right? So, let's see. For GLW, right? GLW definitely longer term trend looking good, right? Red and the blue line is up. Short term trend, 20 days moving average, not too bad. I mean, it's going up, it has flattened out, but I think it was because of yesterday, right? Yesterday, just like, the stock that Bervin just discussed, right? Which is Sterling Infrastructure, we see a very red bearish candlestick, right? Very similar, right? Right over here. I think because of this, then you are thinking, hey, maybe it's a good time to actually accumulate, right? And you also did mention that it's nearing the support, which I believe maybe the support that you have drawn will probably be somewhere close to around this $80 psychological level. But the key thing that I'm looking at in your comment, right, is that you are saying that you are looking to buy more. So I will assume that you already bought some, you're already holding some, and now you're just thinking to accumulate more to actually have increase your exposure for this counter. Okay. So, but I'm not too sure where you actually bought it, right? I mean, of course, I hope that, you have bought it when, it was much lower, when the 1GT bullish signal first came out. Maybe you have got it somewhere here, and, you are already sitting on more than 50% profits. I hope that's the case, right? Because I'm not too sure where you actually buy. But the thing is that you are thinking about buying more when, the trend is still looking good, when there's a pullback. I think that's a very good mindset to have, right? To accumulate more, right? When the uptrend, it is still okay. Not accumulate more when it's going to a downtrend, but it is in an uptrend. So definitely right step, right direction that you are going towards, right? So now that's the next thing that we want to take a look at is, if prices is near the support level, this $80 psychological support level that I've drawn, right? Prices is pretty much near it. But also I just want to take a look at the trailing support, right? Because I don't know if you guys recall, trailing support, right? We have always mentioned that the trailing support will move and it will trail the prices as it moves up. And plus the fact that this trading support accounts for what? Accounts for the stock volatility, right? Every stock got different volatility, right? So this accounts for the stock volatility. And if I were to turn this on, right now, very similar to what Berwin mentioned earlier on, whereby this is also very, very, very close to the trailing support already. And it is really very close to the $80 also, which I've drawn, right? Very close to the trading support. So I think the key thing and the same sentiment that I echo, right, with Berwin based on the 1GD framework is that we don't want to rush, right? We want to monitor to have more confirmation first, whether if price, right, over the next few days, maybe today, next week, whether can it really hold above this trailing support first before, we think about adding on more position. Because if you're already holding on to the position and you're already sitting on profits, right, that's great, right? But we also want to buy more to increase exposure, but we also don't want to anyhow buy, right? We want to make sure that there is more confirmation that price can indeed hold above this trading support before thinking about taking an action. But maybe it could be a bit more expensive, maybe not exactly at like $80 that you buy, maybe 83, 84, a bit more expensive, but at least you get that confirmation that, the trading support holds, the uptrend is actually still intact. Okay, so that's one thing that you want to take note of. All right, the second thing is that because since you're already holding on to the position, you are thinking of adding more position, right? The next level that perhaps you also want to set some price alerts to monitor would be around this zone right over here near the $92, maybe 90 to 92, this zone right over here, which is near the resistance, right? Because this was where selling pressure came in to push prices back down. Right, so this is the zone whereby you can set some price alert to actually take some profits as well, if you would like, right? Nothing wrong to actually take profits, right? Especially if, let's say, you are already sitting on profits, maybe more than 50-60% profits, like what Joey mentioned, right? If you are sitting on that profits already, nothing wrong to take some profit, put in your pocket, have a good holiday, right? End of the year already, have a good holiday, okay? So overall for GLW, I would say that definitely it still looks very uptrend, still looks intact, but it's just that we want to have a bit more confirmation since now it's very, very close to the trading support, right? Maybe wait for a couple of days to see whether indeed this trading support can hold, because if it doesn't hold and it breaks below this, then potential downside, we are looking back towards maybe this 66 level, right? Because this was where you can see that there was some sort of resistance here, right? Back in August, right? This period. So this would be the next support level that we are looking towards if price is unable to hold above the $80. And of course, we don't want to go back to square one, right? Whereby, your profits are eroded. So the key thing is always to also make sure that you are taking active steps to protect your profits if you are already sitting on profits. Okay? So, Kenneth, I hope that helps. Some of the levels that you can take note, support level, resistance level, and also the next support to actually monitor. Set some price alert, right? And to wait for some confirmation before taking action. Okay? So that would be all for GLW. I'll pass the time back over to Joey to cover the bonus stock for today.
All right, thank you so much, Z. And there we have it, guys. We've covered a total of 15 stocks today. Same thing, guys. Our apologies if we cannot cover all the stock, right? Really, guys, there's like more than 40 over stocks. I did a quick count, right? More than 40 over stocks, so we don't have time to cover everything. Apologies. 15. Hopefully, you can join us the next week, all right, or next week if you look at US. So next Friday we're back to Singapore. Next Friday back to US again. So hopefully you can join us. But thank you so much for just being here and joining us today. Thank you for advice, POWL. Oh, hi user, you are here. Very good. Okay, now let me just do a very quick recap on all the stocks we've covered. So in case we have covered it, you missed it, well, not to worry. We will go ahead to you can watch the replay. We watch the replay. It will be on the YouTube channel. So make sure you hit the subscribe button, the follow button, if you have not yet done so that you can just access the replay very quickly as well on the YouTube channel. Right. So let's talk about the stocks we covered right at up front. So we covered the markets, the S&P 500 index, the Dow Jones right at the beginning, some of the factors affecting the market. Why did we sell down over the past few days? Right. The first stock was Micron, Citigroup, Visa, Meta Platforms, Tesla, GLD, right? SPDR Gold Shares. We covered Palantir, Alphabet, GOOGL, Rigetti Computing, right? Core Weave, GDS Holdings, Aris, right? Aris Mining, right? I covered on Powell Industry, POWL. Then Berwin covered Sterling Infrastructure, STRL, and Z just covered on GLW, Corning Incorporated. All right, so let's move on to the bonus stock for today. And the very first bonus stock, guys, that I'd like to share with you guys will be this company called Cisco Systems. The code is CSCON. Those of you who actually joined us about 2 weeks back, right, in our Friday weekly AMAS session for the US market, you probably would be reminded of this stock because I actually shared the stock 2 weeks back as well. So you must be asking me, Jude, why you share the same stock again? But because it still looks good, right? It still looks good, right? So I thought, why not just cover the same stock again, right? I mean, in fact, I think if you've got in 2 weeks ago, you are probably sitting on some profits right now because over the past few days, when the market was weaker and going down, this one is different, go up. Does it make sense so far? All right, the market is going down, right? We have bought some of the tech stocks, AI stocks selling down, but Cisco System indeed has pushed even higher. I think yesterday was due to some really strong earnings above expectations, all right? And buyers started to rush into buy and push it up to a new higher target, right? That we talk about, and that would be the $80. So look at it right now. You can see that $80, I would say, would be a near-term target. Now, very quickly, before I talk about the target, we can see that the longer-term trend for Cisco has been up since last year. Look at the red and the blue line. We have been talking about this over the past 2 hours, right? Red going up, blue going up. We are in a longer-term uptrend, and that's why we're going to think about getting in on stocks like this, whereby we are along with the trend, right? We're not against it. We are, along with it, together, right? Together with it. Does it make sense, Papa? And that's where there's a higher odds of winning, right? Because if you're going against it, then it's like the waves coming in, then you're like going against the wave, then it's like, very hard lah. You see what I'm saying, right? So we must be along with the longer term trend right now. Let's take a look at the short term trend. You can see that the green line, 20 days moving average, well, if you ask me from July all the way to September, quite boring because the green line was actually flat. All right. But then somewhere in September, it woke up. The green line started to point up. Is it still pointing up? Yeah, I think it's still pointing up. So the green line is still pointing up. The short-term trend is still up. Now, let's go ahead to turn on. I know I've done it like 2 weeks ago when we covered it, right? But let's go ahead to turn on the bullish and bearish signal, right? Oh, Ivan, congrats, right? Thanks, Joey. Recommended last time for CSCO. Yeah, in fact, I think 2 weeks ago, right? Just take profit for swing trade for this ticket. Congrats, right? Congrats. Thankfully, I mean, you make some money from it, right? But good. I mean, let's move on and see whether could there be more profits. Maybe you could think about getting in again. I mean, if you've got out, let's find out. So you can see, right? Let's go to turn on the 1GD Pro indicator. The very first box, like what we do for all the stocks that we cover, your stocks, right? But now it's buying stock, right? Okay, so you see, let's turn on the bullish and bearish signals. There we go. All right. So why did I even cover like Cisco System like 2 weeks back and even now, right? Well, you can see that we actually got not one, not two, but I think 1, 2, 3, 4 bullish signals coming out, right? Coupled with the trend indicators all pointing up. That's where we get more confirmations that it is starting to move. That's what we call a conviction trade. And that's the reason why it probably went up today. I mean, last night. Does it make sense? All right. So I think it looks still pretty good. It looks pretty good. In fact, what we could do is to turn on the trailing support level as another confirmation. I think we are definitely still above it, but let's see where could that offer some support, right? Right over here, you can see that the trailing support is around that $71, 71, 72. So if it stays above 71 to 72, right, it still looks pretty bullish, right? Because this trailing support, it gives the stock the space to breathe. You want to be above it. If you're above it, you're fine, chill, relax, continue riding. Does it make sense? All right. So that would be a trailing support, but I'm not too sure whether it will dip to like near 71, 72, or 73 for you to buy. Because why? Yesterday, we actually have got to another phase. We have actually broken above this 75. Let me just draw it for you right over here. 75. We've kind of like got out of the sideways consolidation over the past 1 month, right? And that $75 have been broken. We went above 75. I mean, now it's 77, right? Which is above 75. So we are above 75. So this 75 would come out as a temporary support right over here. Let me just go to draw this to green color right over here. So not even 71 and 72 where the trailing support is. I think somewhere around 75, right? We could potentially see some bargain hunting come back. So it might just consolidate from 75 to 80, up, down, up, down. I mean, for like, 1 week, 2 weeks, I don't know, right? Or maybe it breaks the 80 next week, I don't know, right? But once it breaks 80, that is where it's attempting to find a new high. We could see the next phase of targets being raised again to 85, to 90, maybe to 100 as well. Does it make sense? All right. And that's where these 4 bullish signals can continue to play out. So unless we see a bearish signal, a red color like this one over here, and then you want to be careful, like you see over here, right? And then you want to be careful. But if you don't see it, then continue right now. Right? I don't know how I can go like 100, 120, 130. I don't know, right? We ride it, we take steps to protect our profits along the way, and we maximize our profits. Does it make sense so far? All right, so that is for Cisco system. I think one or two of you actually asked about Cisco system, but I did not cover it because this is actually the stock that I don't cover it today. And hopefully you guys, got some value out of this stock. So let me pass on the mic to Bervin to cover his bonus US stock for today. Bervin, go ahead.
Thanks, Joey. Okay, so that is Cisco Systems. Let me just throw mine on the screen. All right, I think you guys know that I really, really like this stock. It's still the same stock that I've covered over and over many times. It did not get up like Joey's Cisco Systems are. It's still a little bit more on the stable side. All right, so my bonus stock is GE Aerospace. I don't think this company needs much of an introduction. Yeah, so to just dive right into the trend right now, let me just get rid of my buy zone now. All right, we can actually see that the prices have actually seen a new 1GT bullish signal right here on the 27th of October. This was on the backs of the first 1GT bullish signal that appeared right here in July as well. All right, the longer term and shorter term trend still remains pretty much intact. But here's the thing, this GE Aerospace have been pretty much been moving in like a staircase manner, I would like to say. We'll consolidate, move up, consolidate, move up, consolidate, move up, finding new higher supports where it consolidates close towards. All right. So I think right now we are seeing that psychological support of about 300 to 305 still holding up. All right, still holding up right now. I think a little bit of selling yesterday, opening up that window for an opportunity for you to get in as well. All right, to get in as well. So just pull back a little bit. I mean, no problem right there as long as that support continues to hold. All right, so we are seeing that the 20 days moving average is flattening out, signaling that we are entering a consolidation phase once again. All right, previously it has also consolidated before pushing higher. All right, so I'll find, instead of a temporary support like Cisco system, I will find a temporary resistance right there at about that $315. Only tested it just once only, right? Came close one more time, did not really test it. All right, so I think right now we are looking for that upside towards 315 for GE Aerospace first. And if that gives way, I think we can project that longer term target up to about $330. Right, so I'll just quickly turn on that trailing support right there just to give us a little bit more insight. You can see that that trailing support, even has been following the stock prices. That is currently at that $286. All right, $286. So I mean, if you were looking to accumulate at the trailing support, I think we are still got a ways to go, not so soon yet. And then it represents that the prices have to drop quite a fair bit for you to enter close to that trailing support as well. So I think as of right now, I think we are still looking at that 305 as that support level, the entry, potential entry level for many of those buyers as well. So I think so far so good for GE Aerospace. I think it will continue to be on my watch list. I think it's also on the team's watch list right here. So I think nothing much more to further cover, but I would like to just remind everybody to set up an alert, just at a normal alert. Normal alert will do just normal price alert above 315, maybe 316, 317, 318. I already have it right there, so I will not be setting it up again. You guys can do it, and if you want to add it into your watch list, I believe you can still do so. All right, so I will now just pass the time to Z to cover her bonus stock as well. Z, please.
All right, thanks, Bervin. Okay, so this will be the last bonus stock that I would like to share with you guys today. And the bonus stock that I have over here today would be Well Tower, right? So some of you guys might be asking, hey, wow, Well Tower again. I think for those of you who have been following us since the start of the year, right? Actually, this stock, I was just looking back based on our track record. When did we first start covering this stock? That was somewhere in early this year, March, right? We started this AMS, I think, at the start of this year, consistently every Friday, right? Then March, we actually covered it. July, we actually covered it. August, we actually covered it. And this is where it's at right now. right? So not too bad, right? The thing is that if a stock is still good, no point like trying to look for other stock when the stock is still good. We can still continue the uptrend, right? So that's the reason why I think Bell Tower definitely is still on my watch list and also on the team watch list as well, right? So let's take a look at it in terms of it technically, right? And see what are some of the levels that perhaps some of you guys might want to take note of, because I'm not too sure if some of you guys have gotten into some position or perhaps you are thinking about entering some position. All right. So for Well Tower, definitely uptrend, all three short-term, long-term, all looks great, right? Everything is pointing up, right? Plus the fact that we got two consecutive 1GT bullish signal that is actually still playing out right now, okay? But of course, if you have gotten in and out a couple of times for this stock, great, right? Good. But now if you're thinking, hey, maybe you've gotten out already and you're thinking about, hey, where should I potentially enter again, right? Because now price is at even higher, right? Maybe compared to when we covered it somewhere in an update in August, right? Somewhere over here, that was at 160. Now price is at 190, right? But the thing is that, we got to have the mindset that it is okay to buy even though it's more expensive, right? Even though it's slightly more expensive, but the trend still looks good. You want to give up by not buying because you think it's a bit more expensive, then maybe you will lose out a bit, right? You'll lose out a bit, probably you will not capture the upside, but it is okay to actually buy when it's slightly more expensive. Plus, you get all the confirmation that the trend is actually still intact. Plus, you got 1GT bullish signal coming out. All right. So based on this right now, we see that prices over the past couple of months, it has kind of like just been like heading sideways, and we have already drawn some of the support level here, right? Firstly, definitely one of them would be at the 160 level right over here, right? Because this was where price tested as a support, right? Right here again, somewhere here, this was a resistance, right? 180 is a psychological resistance. Unable to break above it, we get a bearish 1GT bearish signal. Selling pressure push it back down and came close to the 160. Didn't even touch 160. Buyers came back in already, and subsequently, then price started to surge back up, right? So I would say 160 is a support level. 180 is a resistance level turned into a new higher support, right? That's why red change it to green, right? Because now price is above it, and then subsequently on this day, somewhere in October, right, this was where earnings results came out, and after that, the next day, we can see that price, the market is actually absorbing all these earnings result and earnings news, right? And prices came back down, right? There's a very bearish candlestick, right? Profit taking actually happened, right? And it actually happened near this 190 psychological resistance level. But even though we have a 1GT bearish signal, right? But not bearish signal, we have a very long bearish candlestick. There isn't any 1GT bearish signal that's in play, right? In fact, a few days later, another 1GT bullish signal came out again. So it's two consecutive 1GT bullish signal already. And then prices continue to help. So, but the thing is that here we know that 190 seems like there's some sort of resistance, right? But price over the past couple of days seems to have broken above this temporary 190 support level right over here, right? And if that is the case, and we know that the uptrend still intact, we got two 1GT bullish signal that's still playing out, then potentially this could be one of the zones that we can potentially look at to set some price alert, to think about positioning yourself for entry, right? This is what we call like a breakout strategy as well, right? But of course, I don't know whether you actually hold above this 190. Maybe the next week it may potentially go back down. It could be a false breakout as well, right? But what do we know? We know that the other key support, right? It is where near this 180 level right over here, right? Because this was actually a resistance turned to become a support. So there is two ways to go about this, right? Some of you guys maybe a bit more aggressive one, your risk appetite is a bit bigger. Then potentially a breakout strategy could be for you, right? Because maybe your risk appetite is okay to accept such trades, right? Because breakout strategy usually have more risk. But for some of you guys who don't really like when stock go up too high, then you buy, you want to wait for a bit of pullback and enter, then there's also nothing wrong to set price alert near the 180, because both of these are still considered support level, and also plus the fact that we know that uptrend is actually still intact, right? So there's no right or wrong, but to see which one you're more comfortable with and what your risk appetite suits better, right? For either of the strategy over here. And of course, thinking about entering, you also got to talk about targets, right? Talk about exits, right? You enter is one thing, but exiting is another thing that, a lot of people sometimes struggle with, right? So we also got to talk about exits, right? Exits will be usually targets, right? Resistance. We talk about resistance zone is where, selling pressure usually come back. So resistance right over here, you can see that I've drawn somewhere around this $200 right over here, right? This $200, which is number one, a psychological level. Price have never been so high. This is at all-time high. And number two, this is also based on, you can see right over here, a projection up, right, to a psychological level as well. So these 200, I would say, would be a level that if you guys have already gotten in, and if prices were to, rebound or even hit up higher, right, hold like that and hit up higher, $200 is where you can also consider to take some partial profits as well, right? And of course, if prices can break above the 200, then another leg up, potentially up towards the 210 resistance, right? But first and foremost, we got to make sure that, if you are thinking about breakout strategy, make sure that it stays above the 191st, monitor for it. Otherwise, the next potential zone of entry could be somewhere near the 180 as well. But either way, regardless of what strategy it is, I always emphasize to make sure to have your risk in check, right? To make sure to have, your stop loss strategy in play, to have your stop loss in play if prices were to reverse suddenly for whatever reason, because this is a risk counter, and maybe, somewhere, somehow along the way in the next month, they decided not to, lower the interest rates, right? That could be a catalyst for this potential stock as well, right? Whereby, prices could actually reverse very sharply. That is where we also want to manage our risk. Okay, so that would be for Well Tower. It still looks good, still definitely in my watch list as well. And if you guys like it, you can also, put in your watch list and set some of the price alerts as mentioned. Okay, so that would be for Well Tower. I hope that is useful for you guys. Back over to you, Choy, to close off today's session.
All right, thank you so much, Z. Welcome. All right, and what happens, guys? We've covered three bonus stock, and that would be Cisco System from me. Bervin covered on GE Aerospace, and finally Z covered on Well Tower. How many of you got some value today? I mean, not just on the stocks that you were asking, but also on the value stocks that we got. Let us know type of V for value, guys. If you got value for today, let me know. V for value. Let us know if you got value today. Give us some heart shape, some love, especially if you have covered your stock, right? Let me just quickly acknowledge all of you still over here joining us. Thank you so much. Hi, Gerald, value. Thank you very much as well. Francis, value. Colleen, Victor, Glenn, Alex, value. Awesome. All right. So very glad that we see a lot of familiar faces every Friday, right, joining us. Same thing, guys. Our apologies if we cannot cover all the stocks, but hopefully you can join us every Friday. We try to do our best to cover as many as possible, right? Thank you so much, Benjamin, Value, Ida, Hong Fok, all right, Akitashi, Yen, thank you. All right, so yes, I think we've come to the end of today's AMAS US Stocks edition, right, session today. Thankfully, all of you are still over here joining us. We look forward to see you in the next live session on Friday. So next Friday, we'll be back to the Singapore market. So if you're looking at Singapore market, make sure you join us. Team, just place the link in the chat again, right? Next Friday, we're back to Singapore market. That's where you could join us for your Singapore stocks. If you want a quick opinion on, all right, that's where we'll go ahead to go through your Singapore stocks next Friday. All right. And as I say, right, guys, if you are not yet a client of mine in Phillip Securities, like many of our clients over here joining us, if you are kind of like scrolling through YouTube, Facebook, you join us for the past 1 over hour, well, find out how you can become a client of mine in Phillip Securities for free and no additional cost to get some of our ideas daily in our WhatsApp community for free. And that's where you could act on these ideas much faster than when we share it over the live AMAS session as well. All right, so Joey here signing off. We have Bervin and Z. Anything to add, Bervin and Z?
Oh, I think always we are always very appreciative to all of you guys who actually join us, like for every Friday, right? Because especially so since the year is coming to an end and we started this at the start of the year, whereby we try to see whether how this goes. But I think so far all of you guys have been super supportive, and I just want to say that we are very, very thankful for all of you guys. Yeah, that's the thing that I just want to share with everybody since the year is coming to an end.
All right. Yeah, time flies. I mean, next month is like Christmas already, right? Okay, good. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much, everyone. Thanks for sharing. Thank you for your time. Thanks, Jared. Thanks, Colleen. Bye-bye. Bye, everyone. We'll see you next Friday.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.